What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Mickey Truth, aka the Queen of Paperwork, and I am back. And I'm late. I was supposed to be live 2 hours ago, but your girl was definitely knocked out. I'm even late for work. But nevertheless, we are here. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, tell a friend to pull up. Your girl is live. And yo, the YNW Melly trial is spicy right now. So let's get into it. Yo, Hookah, what it do?
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Hookah Anonymous, and you are now rocking with Mickey Truth. She live up to her name, not the fame. So make sure y'all subscribe to her channel and stay updated on what's real. Bye.
Coming from where I come from, they doubted me, but I came up. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. Coming from where I come from, they doubted me, but I came up. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world.
Good reporting ass Mickey.
We love you, Mickey.
Yo, the trial is going crazy right now. As always, all information contained in this live is for entertainment and educational purposes only. All information used in this live is per the Fair Use Act. And any conclusion that you draw is on you, not me. So let's go. KG, what it do? I'm gonna go straight to the trial because I'm actually listening to it on another device. And we need to get in there, okay? So give me a minute. I'm about to go ahead and tap in. The witness is already on the stand. Here we go. This is, hold on, y'all. What the world? Uh,
Melly left again.
I'm not sure they left. I was grieving. Okay. I'm not sure what nobody did. I was grieving.
All right. You mentioned, well, not you mentioned, let's see. I pointed out to you someone was the person that was wearing the jacket that you identified as Melly was carrying something across his side or his back on the table. Do you recall seeing that?
I guess.
Do you recall what that's referred to? Okay. Can it also be commonly referred to?
Objection. Sustain.
Are you familiar with the term man?
Objection. Watch your side.
all right, for those who are just waking up and joining me, just like I am, Travion Glass is on the stand.
Did you see that satchel again after you left the studio? Do you know what was in that satchel?
I don't.
Okay. Do you recall seeing anyone else with a satchel that night at the studio?
It's 5 years ago. I don't recall.
Okay. Is there anything that can refresh your recollection as to whether or not anybody else was wearing a satchel?
Supposed to.
If I were to show you the video again, would that refresh your recollection?
Supposed to.
Publishing Suite 7. I'm going to start Publishing Suite 7 at 2:19:01. I'm going to pause at 2:19:13. Does the video refresh your recollection as to anyone else that was carrying a satchel?
Yes.
Who, if anyone, was carrying a satchel?
I see Chris for one.
And that's Christopher Thomas.
Yes.
Did you ever have any business relationship with the person I refer to as Track?
No,
Okay. Do you know who Track is?
not really.
Not really, or
I don't know who he is at all.
do you know of him?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see Track on October 26, 2018 at any point?
No.
Do you recall giving a statement, specifically the statement that I've previously provided you with here today? To the detectives in this case.
Mm.
You have to answer out loud.
Yes.
That was a statement that you gave to Detective Moretti and another detective, I believe from Indian River. Is that correct?
Could be.
Do you recall in that statement giving a different response when asked?
Stay.
Would showing you that statement refresh your recollection as to anything regarding your interactions with Track on October 26, 2018?
I don't know Track.
No, my question was, would showing you the statement refresh your recollection as to any time you saw Track on October 26th of 2018?
No.
Okay. One moment. You said you ended up back in Gifford at some point in time on October 26th of 2018?
Yes.
And you recall where Melly was at the time you went to Gifford?
I don't remember.
Was at some point at Frito's house, you guys all leave, meaning you, yourself, everyone that you previously identified was there?
I don't recall.
You don't recall leaving?
I don't recall leaving with anyone. I don't know when I left. I don't know how I left.
Okay. Just to clarify my question, so you mentioned you left. When you left for Gifford, was anyone else at Frito's house?
I don't know.
Do you recall Melly making any statements in your presence while you were at Frito's house?
I don't recall.
Would showing you your statement refresh your recollection as to anything Melly told you while you were there?
I don't recall being told anything. So no.
Okay. You mentioned when they left the first time, you recall them at least leaving one time. Did you recall if when they came back, there were any statements regarding where they went?
Sustained.
No,
Sustained objection.
don't answer that. So you remember them leaving the house at least.
Oh, this testimony is something already. Make sure you like, comment, and share. I'm running to my laptop now to skip this doggone thing.
You have a Facebook page back in October 26th of 2018.
I believe so.
I'm approaching council. What's been pre-marked as states quadruple I. Previous is shown. Witness.
Right.
Mr. Glass, if you recognize these two pages that I'm showing to you.
Yes, sir.
And is this a Facebook, these statements reflect a Facebook conversation?
They do.
Is this a fair and accurate representation of that conversation that you had on Facebook?
It is.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would move to introduce what's been pre-marked as quadruple I as the next numbered exhibit.
No objection.
I'm sorry?
No objection, Your Honor.
It will be admitted.
States quadruple I will be marked states 83.
Permission to publish?
You may.
Mr. Glass, can you see that document in front of you?
Yes.
All right. Where it says author, can you read that for the members of the jury?
You want me to read it?
If you can read that, what does it say next to author?
Fargo.
What does it say before Fargo?
Okay, Fargo.
Okay, do you see where it says Fetty Fargo?
Let's see.
Okay, and who's Fetty Fargo?
It was me.
Okay, so was that your was that a, how you identified yourself on Facebook?
Kind of, sort of.
And who were you having this conversation with?
Right now, I look like I'm talking to myself. I
Okay.
look like I'm texting myself. I don't know who I sent it to.
Do you see where it says participants?
Okay. So, chasing Melly.
Okay. And that was page 1. I'm gonna now publish page 2. I'll publish it in part, since it's a little small. Can you see that in front of you?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Great, I'm gonna scroll up. What was the purpose of you having this conversation with Melly, Jamel Simmons?
I don't know, just everything was questioned.
When you got to Gifford, were you looking for answers?
I just need,
Okay. Were people kind of pressing you for answers?
correct.
And did that have any impact in whether or not you reached out to Melly?
I don't know what you mean by that.
So, and again, you said that people were looking for answers. So did you reach out to Melly looking for answers?
I did.
Is that the gist of that conversation on Facebook?
Is that just a
Meaning the
conversation?
gist of the conversation, was that the purpose behind the conversation and the general conversation that you had with him?
Yes.
Random ways to confer. Do you know who Jamie King is?
I don't know who she is. I know of.
Okay, you know of Jamie King. Do you know how she's related to Jamel Simmons?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
Do you know her relationship?
Mom, supposed to be his mom.
Okay. Do you know if Jamie King and Anthony Williams had any?
Objection leading.
I wouldn't know none of that.
Rephrase your question.
Do you know the relationship between Jamie King and Anthony Williams?
I don't.
If I were to show you a copy of your statement, would that refresh your recollection?
Nope.
And one moment, further. Nothing further at this time.
Council, thank you. Is there any cross-examination this week?
Yes, sir. Morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Glass. Your Honor, would you mind if we move the monitor from in front of the witness's face?
I don't mind. I mean, I mind.
Would you mind, Your Honor?
I don't mind. Is there a specific issue that you have, Mr.
I do. I do.
Judge, can
So,
we switch sidebar?
sure. Ladies and gentlemen, why don't you step out for a second? Don't discuss the case. Don't form any opinion about the case. Don't allow anyone to discuss the case in the presence of no reason.
This is something. This is something. I said months ago, the downfall, if anything, in this case will be those close to me.
And assistant state attorney. So, Mr. Glass, I don't understand. What's the issue?
On this side of my face and show whatever was seen. Because I'm blind in my left eye, I'm trying not to.
So you don't see out of your left side?
Correct.
Left eye?
Correct.
So, so my thought is, let's try this. Can we, Gary, can you do me a favor? Just move the monitor for a second.
Let's move it out of the way.
Can you do that?
I could do that too. But if I did, as far as this goes.
No, I'm not asking you to detach anything. How much do you put it down?
That's just here.
All right. So, Mr. Glass, is that all right?
Just your courthouse.
Okay, so we can proceed like that. I think that works for everybody. So they show you pictures and things like that. You have to be able to see the monitor too. You understand, Mr. Glass? All right, we ready to proceed?
Yes.
All right, bring jury back in, see if they're ready. All right, we'll be in recess. Mr. Damage, you need a rest for a break? No? We're in recess.
Truth team, what it do? Good morning, y'all. Like I said, we're like 2 hours behind. I'm not really sure what happened before I started going live. But I definitely was knocked out. Okay, I'm late on everything. Shout out to everybody that's here. The whole crew team. What's up, Barbara? Barbara says, "Who is Mackie, Barbara?" Mickey, do you think he was trying to avoid looking at Melly? Oh, most definitely, he's not trying to look at Melly. He is definitely right now. It is being reflected that guess what? He provided information. I feel like a lot of those close to Melly. Hold on, let me see what they're talking about. Is this old?
So you're at Frito's house. You mentioned, and I forgot exactly where you were in the house. Did you say where you were?
Okay, we heard that part. So, hold on, what I was talking about? I don't forgot what I was talking about. Hold on, let's listen to this real quick. Some text threw me off. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay, and it's because I don't know who everybody was or is, can you please specify?
Kobe, Melly. I'm on people I can remember.
Okay, was that the first time you saw Melly after you guys left the studio?
Yeah.
Was Melly wearing the same clothes or different clothes than when you saw him at the studio?
It was a little bit. Nah, he wasn't.
Nah, he wasn't. You guys
He wasn't wearing the same clothes.
Okay, do you recall what he was wearing?
Just had on some shorts.
Okay. And how long did you stay at Frito Bain's house?
I don't know.
All right, minutes, hours, days?
Could be minutes, could be hours.
Okay, so not days?
Not even a day.
Okay. And so when you got to Frito's house, was
so when I first looked at this case, I definitely said the freaking nail to it is gonna be somebody close to Melly. Travion Glass. I assumed he gave a statement in the beginning. I could never actually find it like everybody else. But I knew anybody in that red car would definitely be a witness that prosecution wouldn't want, not prosecution, defense wouldn't want to understand. And this is why. Because now what it do, TMC? Now, like I said, they have records that really can't, without a reasonable doubt, be proven to be what it is. But now you got people that could at least stamp certain parts of it to make it be like, well, if they say for example, if he's saying, yeah, Melly got in that car, now you got the video, now you got the phone record showing that phone moved at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Now he's saying he was at Fredo Bain's house. Now, you know what I'm saying? So it's like he is now laying the groundwork to confirm pieces of evidence that the prosecution had already put on the table. Now it's being confirmed by an actual person, although he cannot testify if Melly actually did the shooting, but he can definitely close the door on some of the reasonable doubt on certain instances. Let's see what the expert's talking about.
This took place. So stay with us and we'll see more of his testimony on the other side.
Well, they stopped talking as soon as I came on. But yeah, interesting. Like I said, if he wasn't, hold on one second. All right, so interesting enough, why is it still messaging me? Interesting enough, I personally don't even think this is the friend that could, right? However, if his testimony is like this, if, for example, Mills, I keep forgetting his first name, but if Mills take the stand, then hey, Jersey, let me tell you, this is one of those things. The same thing with the mother of the ex-girlfriend. They were so quick to run and speak to the law enforcement, speak to the detective for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe they were scared. Maybe in all hearts of hearts, they like, nah, there's some shady stuff. They went and talked to the police. For whatever reason, years later, now everybody ducking the words that they said 5 years ago. I told y'all before, 2018, a lot of stuff was provided to detectives in this case. About a year into it, whatever temperature, definitely KG, whatever temperature start changing for whatever reason, people started avoiding contact with the police and with the prosecution, with the defense. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, I don't know what's they talking about.
Glass was reading something from his phone, and as Your Honor walked in, talking to someone on the phone. So I would ask the court to inquire as to what he's reading and who he's speaking to while he's on the witness.
But I think the only individual who's not allowed to speak with would be myself and Ms. Smith. So I think that should be the extent of the inquiry.
Thank you. Mr. Glass? All right, you're looking at me now. All right, thank you. I wasn't here. I left the office, left the bench, we're in recess, came back in, and counsel suggested to me that you're on the phone and you read something and you're discussing something on the phone. Is that true?
Sure.
Yes, so did it have anything to do with this case?
No.
So was it some other business or?
So it's me texting. So,
you were texting?
Yeah.
Were you texting about the case?
About it.
What were you texting?
Texting saying that this wild shit wild. So I said.
I didn't hear you.
I said things are wild. That's all I said.
Things are wild.
It's wild.
Anything else?
That's it.
And did you have a conversation with someone?
My brother called me and was concerned, that's all.
Concerned?
Yeah.
Concerned about what? Did he say?
Concerned about who I'm here with and how I got here.
Okay. And anything about the case, facts of the case, your testimony, anything like that?
No.
Thank you. All right, so are you ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
Stay ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
All right, can we proceed to jury ready?
Yes, sir.
I don't know why he ducking. I mean, we see you. I mean, you there. You're here. I don't know what he said really about his eye. So maybe it's a self-conscious thing, but hey.
I'm trying to rush you. I'm just trying to get an idea. I know you have a strong. You already got trade for
He kind of favor one of the on what sack chaser. I wonder if they can. And respectfully, if he can't see out of one of his eyes, how is he testifying to what he saw? I mean, I really want to know that part. Like, this is crazy.
Please, John, thank you. Please be seated. Let the record once again reflect the presence of the defendant, the defendants, his counsel, and assistant attorneys. During the jury, and all witness, Mr. Glass remains on the stand. Counsel, this is your opportunity for cross-examination. If you're ready, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Morning, Mr. Glass. Morning, sir. I wanted to show you what the state admitted as States 83. We just took a peek at this and identified the participants as being you. You thought it looked like you were talking to yourself because you were the only one typing. There were no responses, at least on the first page, correct?
Objection to counsel testimony.
Sustained.
There are no responses to this, to your text on this first page.
No.
On the second page, the state was discussing that essentially you were inquiring of Mr. Demons Melly what had gone on because you were trying to get information, right?
Yeah.
And you see a conversation here where you get a response. I'm going to direct your attention to
I see it.
that statement. It says, I show them niggas more love than their parents, right? You see that?
I see it, bro.
Okay, thank you. And the next statement by the next message in sequence is again from Melly, and it says TF. What does that mean?
You tell me.
Okay. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Okay. So you were having a conversation and you didn't understand the
I don't know what
response.
TF means.
Okay. You didn't understand that response. Correct?
Just said it.
Okay. And then there's another one that says, man, tell them fuck that. If they think I did some shit like that, we can go to war. Nigga, you know I would never do nothing like that. See that?
I see it.
Okay. So David mentioned that you got arrested recently and charged criminally. Correct?
Correct.
And on May 30th, not too long ago, of this year.
Yeah.
And one of the charges that was made against you was obstruction of the service of the execution of a search warrant. You're aware of that?
I am now.
Pardon me?
I am now.
Okay. So you got charged and you had no idea what you're charged with?
Correct.
Okay. And you are now out on pretrial release?
I bonded out, sir.
Okay. And while you were on bond, you are of the opinion that if you don't come here,
I'll be in jail.
Objection, Your Honor, apology.
That's the only reason I am.
Excuse me. What happens is when they make an objection, just wait before you answer. Objection, no, it's overruled. Proceed.
You're of the impression that if you don't come here and sit in that chair and testify, you're gonna go to jail.
Correct.
Okay. There are several instances in which Ms. Smith, prosecutor, that questioned you, showed you a statement that you previously gave. Remember that?
Yes.
And you told us you remember seeing me in a deposition not too long ago.
I said what?
You remember seeing me last week on Friday?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. And you recalled at the time that your statement to the detectives was a few days after the incident.
You say, do I recall?
That's what your recollection was at the time.
Yes.
A couple of days after.
A couple of days after.
And now after seeing the statement, you realize that it was 4 months later, right?
You say what?
The statement you gave to police. That
You're telling me it was 4 months?
It was 4 months. Pardon me?
You're telling me or asking me?
I'm asking.
That don't make sense. For you to ask me if I told you it was 3 to 4 days after they died, why are you asking me if it was 4 months if I just told you?
Okay. So, in the statement that you gave to police back then, you claimed that you had gotten into the red vehicle in the rear seat, right?
It's 5 years ago. To the best of my knowledge, yeah, that's what I said.
You're saying the statement was a few days after, right?
What did you tell?
The statement that you gave to the police was a few days after the incident?
Yes.
And you said then that you had gotten into the rear of the red vehicle.
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And then you watched this trial unfold on TV over the last couple of weeks, right?
No.
You didn't watch any of this
I
trial?
watched it, but I didn't watch it unfold or whatever you're trying to say.
Okay. You watched this on TV, this trial?
On my phone.
Okay. And you saw a video of yourself get into the red vehicle, right?
Correct.
And you learned that the statement that you gave a few days after the incident was wrong.
Because I said I was in the back and I was in the front.
Yes, exactly that.
That piece.
Yes, that piece.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, so your recollection had begun to fail you only a few days after the incident,
Objection.
as regards that issue, at least.
Objection to counsel testifying as perjury.
You forgot where you sat in the vehicle a few days after.
Objection to counsel testifying.
Overruled.
You can answer
Answer what?
that question. Is that correct,
Did
sir?
I forget?
Did you
Or
forget?
did I have made a mistake and say I was in the back and remember that I was in the front?
So when you told the law enforcement officers that you had gotten into the back of the vehicle a few days after the incident,
That's what I thought, to the best of my knowledge.
that's what you thought? Okay. And when you got to Melly's house that morning, you had a key?
Did you have a key?
No, I didn't. Did you?
No, I didn't.
Who had a key?
I don't know.
Do you know if anybody having a key to Melly's house?
I don't know.
Okay. But you did gain entrance to that house that morning when you were leaving after you left the studio.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you said you just went and crashed and went to sleep in Judy's room. Right?
Factual.
Okay. And you were awakened by your friend Drew.
I did not say that.
Were you awakened by your friend Drew?
I said I was awakened by phone calls.
Okay. On February 26th of 2019, when you actually gave your statement to law enforcement, do you recall this question and this answer?
Objection, improper impeachment.
Sustained.
On that day, you told the police that Drew woke you up.
Objection, improper impeachment.
Sustained.
I don't recall.
Excuse me, I sustain the objection.
Okay. You want to make a reproach?
Sure.
Yo, so they are definitely attacking the credibility of the witness. Okay, they are. I mean, in so many words, they're basically saying everybody was acting on emotion and on what was being said around and all that. And now they're saying something else. So I don't know, man. This is crazy. What it do? YNFL. Yo, this is wild. I have noticed that he's getting a little hostile with the defense. He wasn't, as far as the part I caught, because I did miss half of it. I didn't catch him being hostile with the state.
Did you ever make a statement differently where you claimed that you were awakened by Drew?
Objection, counsel testifying to proper impeachment.
Overruled. Do you understand the question, sir?
I don't even remember getting asked a question.
All right, restate your question.
Did you ever make a statement to the police?
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you recall now being asked this question and giving this answer?
Objection to improper impeachment.
Overruled.
Question by the detective then. And so when you first saw Drew, when did you see him? Where did you see him at? Your house or Fredo's house? Answer, at the house in Miramar. At Melly's house. Okay. He woke me up. It was like, come to the hospital. You said that.
I don't recall.
Don't recall. Okay. When we spoke to you last week, you said you were awakened by phone calls from Christopher Thomas's mom, right?
Plenty of phone calls.
And, pardon me?
Different people.
Different people. And the one that you answered was Ricky? So you were awakened by a phone call from Ricky?
To the best of my knowledge.
So as you recall it today, Ricky is the one that woke you up with phone calls, not Drew that woke you up in person.
Correct.
Okay. So you smoke a lot of marijuana, right?
Not the weed.
You smoke it anytime you get a chance, I think is how you phrase it.
It's your answer. Yeah.
That was your answer.
I smoke when I smoke.
You smoke when you smoke?
Yeah.
And when's that?
When I smoke.
And when was that?
When I smoke.
How many times a day?
Objection to ask and answer.
Overruled.
Twice, 3 times, maybe.
Okay. And on the night before you got to the studio, on the day in question, you had smoked at least 2 joints, right?
I sure guess.
That's what you said, right?
I don't recall.
Okay. And when you got to the studio, you were smoking, correct?
Possibly.
Were you or weren't you?
It was 5 years ago.
You forget?
I don't recall.
Okay. And you were drinking Hennessy, I believe? Or do you not recall that either?
It's possible.
Possible. But you don't recall?
I don't.
Okay. So you don't recall much from that night, do you? Right? Fair?
Right.
Okay. And when you got in the red vehicle and left, you went to sleep in the vehicle when you left the studio, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't wake up until you got to the guard gate.
I woke up when we came to a stop.
You did not wake up until you got to the guard gate. Am I right or wrong?
I woke up when we came to a stop.
Okay,
Which was at the guard gate, yes.
Okay. One moment. With respect to your daily, right? You've never seen Melly with a gun.
Objection, Your Honor.
Staying.
Move to strike.
Here's this your last question.
Have you ever seen Melly with a gun?
Objection, Your Honor.
I sustain the objection.
Have you ever seen a track with a gun?
Possibly. Yes. Maybe. Maybe so.
You don't know of any friction between Melly and Anthony Davis at any time, Anthony Williams at any time.
I know it.
And you don't know of any friction between Melly and Christopher Thomas at any time.
Not that I know of.
And you don't know of any friction that occurred at the studio that night that would cause anybody to get murdered.
Objection, Your Honor. Call for speculation.
Sustained.
You didn't see any friction at the studio that night of any magnitude?
I did.
You did?
I didn't.
Okay, you did. With respect to your daily marijuana regimen, did you smoke before you came here today?
I did not.
I have another question. Thank you.
I should
Counsel, is there any regret?
One moment, Your Honor.
Did he say he should have?
Mr. Glass, did you live in Broward County back in October 2018?
I did not live here.
Okay. When did you come in relation to this incident to Broward County?
I was picked up probably, I don't know, I was picked up on the weekend or something like that.
So how would you, I guess, date how long you were here prior to the incident? Time frame.
3 days, 2 days?
Okay. So you were not a full-time resident of Melly's residence?
I was not.
Okay. Nothing further.
Is this witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You may step down. You are excused. Let's go on the box. So, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we take our lunch and recess now? It looks like it's over after 12. And remember the admonition, do not discuss the case. Don't form any opinion about the case. Don't allow anyone to discuss the case in your presence.
He ain't even
Certainly no research. I see everybody back at, let's say 1:30. All right? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your head on cheers.
Well. That was entertaining. I'm not even gonna stunt. That was something. I don't know what that was, but that was something. Hold on, is they still talking?
Just down, Council Randall, with Lieutenant and you discuss council. Thank you.
Oh, that was something. I'm over here like, what? Now, like I said, I missed part of the whole situation with the first half of the prosecution. If they replay that, I'm gonna run that back. But this is, let me see. Is this one I saw?
I'm gonna now publish page 2.
I don't really like to hear the prosecution go over the text message because it's like she be skipping over stuff, which I know she got to do what she got to do for her case, but it just be like, it's just be, I don't know. I be feeling like she be leading them with just part of it, instead of just really saying the whole thing. Cause like without the defense highlighting that one where he was like, I would never do nothing like that, you would have thought, you know what I'm saying, he was implying that he did it or like some sign of guilt. But nevertheless, let's get into some paperwork while we on break. Let's see. Which one is that? So I did go ahead and pull the case. No, KG, I'm not changing my mind. Not yet. I had to listen to his full interview from the state questioning the C, because right now, to me, the defense so far did a good job of kind of attacking his credibility. It was weird that he started I guess being kind of hostile. I don't know really what that was about. It was just kind of a weird transition to me. Okay, so let's do this. This was filed on yesterday. The defense filed a motion to exclude witness Travion Glass. It says that, and this is just how it looks. Look, it's not my computer, okay? On June 5th, 2023, the evidentiary phase of this trial commenced, and both the state and defense invoked the rule of discretion. I hate all these words. Be like, wait. Providing the exclusion of witnesses who might be called to testify so that they might be precluded from observing the presentation of evidence and testimony of others. Boom. Remember I told y'all, if you're a witness, you can't be in the courtroom. You cannot view the trial at all, okay? So it says here, the trial proceedings are being live streamed on YouTube via Law and Crime Network. Shout out to Law and Crime Trial Network for letting us use that stream, by the way. July 7th, 2023, the defense was for the first time able to take the deposition of state witness Travion Glass, who was listed as a state A witness and has been for 4+ years, but who deliberately made himself unable to be located and thus unable to be deposed. During deposition, Travion Glass was asked the following question and responded. Question: do you know who, where everyone got into the Jeep, where everyone sat? Answer: I wasn't aware who got in what seat that day, but from me watching what's going on, yeah, I know now. Yeah. They shouldn't have been able. Witnesses that took the stand, Gates. But they might went on appeal. They shouldn't have been allowed in. And I know for sure, South Carolina, you don't supposed to be in a courtroom if you're a witness. I never really followed that trial. I might need to look at that because you shouldn't be. If you had to take the stand, unless you are all the way dismissed, meaning you are not going to be called back to the stand, is one thing. But Yeah, you don't supposed to be in there if you have. He might win on the pill if that's the case. Cause yeah. All right, then it says here, see pages 39 of the deposition transcript attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and made part of this motion through this reference. Travion Glass was then asked to clarify. He stated the following question. It says, Mr. Howard, hold on, y'all. Really? I hope the lawyer put that on the, because that's just not how it's supposed to go. And I knew that just from, like I said, dealing with attending cases here before I even came on YouTube. So that's weird, especially being that it took place in South Carolina. That's weird. I'm gonna look into that though, because I've never heard that you can sit in there. Because that's crazy. They let them sit in there, because if they got to sit in there before they took the stand, they could have adjusted their testimony based on what they heard. Yeah, that's crazy. It says, Mr. Howard, just clarify, when you say watching what's going on, that's video footage of the trial on television. The witness correct. Next says page 40. The question, okay, and when's the first time you talked to either one of the prosecutors? Answer, when I first seen that you all was live on YouTube, on YouTube, and I kept hearing my name. Oh shoot. All right, so now they're going into Florida Evidence Code 90.616, sets forth rule more commonly known as the rule of creation. I know I probably said that wrong, but whatever. Which ensures that witnesses do not discuss the facts of their cases and or their testimony with other witnesses prior to the testimony at trial. That's what I thought too. I know South Carolina got that same statute somewhere. All right, so we kind of get there. In the case at hand, it is clear from Travion Glass' deposition testimony that his testimony has been affected after watching the live stream trial proceedings, and substantially his testimony now is different than his previous statement made to law enforcement in 2019. So a correction, I think I said 2018 earlier. So he spoke in 2019 just as well as Mills. Further, in Travion Glass' own words, he clearly establishes what to do. Justify. Hold on, pause real quick. Side note, Justified. I saw you in Law and Crime chat. Talking about the prosecutor was thick. I saw you. I said, look at Justified. Can't go nowhere. Further, in Travion Glass' own words, he clearly establishes that his testimony was affected by viewing the previous witness testimony and evidence to wit. I wasn't aware who got in what seat that day. From me watching what's going on, yeah, I know now, yeah. The omissions of Travion Glass regarding watching what's going on is, what the freak? Is something to him being allowed to sit in the courtroom prior to testifying the prosecution. It is unclear if Mr. Glass has decided to change his original statement to garner favor in his pending criminal case in Indian River County, Florida, as he made it abruptly clear to everyone in the room that he was only there to avoid violating his bond and going back to jail. Nonetheless, it is not the defendant's duty to speculate as to the intentions of Mr. Glass and his change in testimony, because the law is clear. The Mr. Demons has a constitutional right to a fair trial, and this right will be violated. Should Mr. Glass be able to testify for the state of Florida after viewing a live broadcast of the trial proceedings and allowing him to conform his testimony to that of the witness testimony he viewed? Y'all think another motion for a mistrial is coming? Alright, so say, okay, so tell me who gets in a car. Answer, me, AD, Kobe, and Tay in the red car. Cortland, Melly, Juvie, Sack in the other car. Do you know that would be the Jeep, correct? Yes. Definitely, Gage. Definitely. Anjanette Levy, who is that? Are you talking on the thing? All right, let's see. All right, I'm gonna step away. Here we go.
That's right, Anjanette. He's critical because he was there at the scene and he is the first witness to testify about what he saw that night. Now, there was a deposition that he did just last week. He's back here on the stand and we've already had his direct and his cross-examination. It's very interesting. He did say he did not want to be here. The only reason he is here is because he is afraid he is going to get arrested and charged if he did not appear, because he has some other outstanding charges pending, and so he had to appear. And he also has a bit of an attitude, I must say, with all parties, both the prosecution and the state and even the judge. So ultimately he got up on that stand and he did testify. He said, and he confirmed who was in each of those cars. You know, obviously there's the gray car, the gray Jeep, and then there's a red Mitsubishi, and he confirmed the 4 individuals in each of those cars. So we knew that from looking at the video. He looked at the video, the still shots, and he confirmed the individuals who were in all of those cars.
And he also talked about how it sounded like the plan was that night for everybody to go back to the apartment complex where they all lived. It sounds like he and his friends in the red Mitsubishi did that, but the Jeep didn't.
That's right. He said he went back and he went to Melly's place and he fell asleep. He was exhausted. That's why they left the studio, because they were sleeping and you have to pay for studio time. SAC wanted everybody to get up and get out because they were actually not doing any work and it was, you know, senseless to be there without paying. So they all left. And he did say that he went back to Melly's house, he fell asleep. And then ultimately he did get this phone call that said, you know, something had happened. And he confirmed that, you know, Sack and Juvie had deceased, that had been killed. And so he went to the hospital. Then he, you know, later, you know, left the hospital. So he's definitely confirming everything that happened that night. He also said he went to, I think it's Fredo Bang's house, and a bunch of people came into that house as well. So there was a lot of chaos and confusion. He didn't know exactly when Melly came and left. One thing he did say, I will say, is that when Melly came back at one point, he had different clothing on. So I think that was a critical piece of information as well.
Yeah, I'm sure that's something that the prosecution will hone in on, because they're going to say, why were you changing your clothes in the middle of the night after your 2 friends were murdered? So it'll be interesting to see how they wrap this up again with the lead detective, Moretti, who's supposed to be taking the stand later today. Well, we're going to be taking your questions, as I mentioned at the top of the show, for the next hour. So submit those to us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads. Get on Threads if you're not on there already, and TikTok. So let's get right to the questions. Linda, I'll throw this one to you. At Nate Dog from YouTube asks, do you think Melly will testify?
Wow, that is always the most interesting question. I don't think he is going to testify. However, having said that, we have seen a rash of defendants get on the stand. The problem with that is that if he testifies, the trial will come down to just what he says. Now, the defense may think he has to refute why he changed his clothes, but maybe there's somebody else that they'll put on to talk about why he changed his clothes. Because to me, that may be a single most important fact in this case for the prosecution.
A change of clothes around the time of a homicide is always a big red flag. It's something that raises a lot of suspicion because it just seems kind of too coincidental. You know, there aren't many coincidences in life. The Z Sisters from YouTube asks, do you feel as if YNW Melly has a chance of being found not guilty as of right now? So Tyler, I'll throw that one to you.
You know, this is a tough case where he's being charged with these murders basically based on mainly circumstantial evidence. I do think there's some reasonable doubt, but what I think is reasonable doubt versus what jurors believe is reasonable doubt is a real question. As of right now, I don't see him being found not guilty. We still have to see the defense's case. Maybe they'll bring up a lot that's going to strengthen their case. They've been bringing up a lot of good points here, but as of right now, I don't see Melly walking away from this case.
Our next question, Menace JPN from YouTube, Terry asks, is this witness, Travion Glass, beneficial to Melly? What do you think?
Well, I think he has benefits for both sides. I mean, he isn't really saying anything that's going to help the prosecution or the defense. I mean, I mentioned the clothing because I do think that was one piece of information that could be helpful as far as the prosecution's concerned. But here's what's clear, Anjanette. He does not want to be here. He does not want to be questioned by either the state or the defense. And he's showing that he is impatient. He does have a little bit of a sense of humor. He did say when he was asked about his smoking and his marijuana, he did say, I should have had some before I came here. And the courtroom sort of all laughed at that, including the jury. But I don't think he's just given any information that's really going to do anything for either side at this point. He was very hesitant to say very much.
And I can understand that. You know, there's this whole thing about snitching and being perceived as being a snitch, and he's probably fearful and doesn't want to be there. I mean, we're talking about a case that involves allegations of gang membership and things like that. So I don't blame him for not wanting to be there. At @GotMorals_1106 from Twitter, Linda, how long is this going to be? The judge even looks tired with the defense's horrible evidence.
Well, the defense really hasn't put in any evidence yet. It's always the prosecution who goes first. As a matter of fact, the defense has no burden to put in any evidence at all. But I do think they will have their own medical examiner. I think they'll have their own crime scene reconstructionist. That could take some time. Now, of course, that's a couple of days. Now, if Melly testifies, then all bets are off, obviously, because then that case, as I said, becomes around him, and it will take a lot longer. But I don't see the defense going that long on the evidence that they may have. I think they're going to be pointing towards, if he does get a conviction, as you know, in any death penalty case, you start by doing your mitigation first, even if you don't have a verdict, to make sure that if you do get a verdict against you, that you can try to avoid the death penalty through your mitigation investigation.
You know, you mentioned the possibility of Melly testifying. A lot of people think he won't. But, you know, Linda, this is really a decision that he makes. Right. I mean, Melly, that's really one of the only decisions he gets to make in the case, is whether or not he gets up there.
Right. He gets to make several decisions. He gets to make a decision whether he pleads guilty or not guilty. He gets to make a decision whether he waives a jury or not. And the third decision that is only his is whether he testifies or not. His attorneys can say no, and he may say yes, knowing that he has that 10 million followers out there on Spotify, and say, hey, I'm going to tell my truth, and my truth is the truth they want to hear. So, yes, you're absolutely right, Anjanette. One of the three decisions a defendant gets to make himself without his attorneys.
Tyler, this next one's for you. At Teresa855-24156 from Twitter asks, if the defendant is found guilty, how likely will an appeal be approved because the judge allowed this witness, Travion Glass, to testify after he had been watching live streaming of the case before he got on the stand?
Well, appeal being...
Oh, that one's for Tyler. Sorry, Terry.
I was saying whether the appeal be approved or if the defense will file one, I think is the question. The defense will all but certainly file an appeal if Melly is convicted. I think there's a lot of issues for appeal. This is a death penalty case. The stakes are very high. Some of the evidence that was entered into the case, there's a lot of objections to. So I believe all but certainly they will file appeal if Melly's convicted.
All right, Terry, this one's for you. Malcolm Chandler from YouTube asks, why didn't the defense, and we're back to the close now, why didn't the defense question the witness on Melly changing clothes? Are they conceding this as fact?
I don't think they're conceding anything at this point. I think they did not want to redress that issue again. It's already been stated on the direct examination. I think they focused, like surgery, on the points they wanted to make. One of the points was that Facebook messaging back and forth between Melly and between Travion Glass. And the one point I do think that the defense made was, look, they were having a discussion about what happened. Apparently, Glass was concerned. People were asking him. But I think defense made it very clear that Melly basically didn't respond for at least the first page. And then later he said, I'd never do, quote, nothing like that. So I think he made it clear on the cross-examination that Melly, at least at that point on Facebook, was denying that anything had happened. I think, defense decided, I'm not going to ask about the clothing because, that is, I think, a very difficult issue to address.
Yeah, and they may think it's more beneficial to them to just gloss over it and move on and not make a big deal out of it. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll take more of your questions. So keep them coming to us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. I'm Anjanette Levy, and you are watching Law and Crime.
Yo, truth saying, y'all know I got a rebuttal for all y'all stuff. But it's something, okay? I got to watch the first half of that testimony. This is something. So, I'm stretching. Yeah, I am so tired. I don't know why I'm so tired, but I'm tired. Okay. And I got to go in the office today, and I just found out I got to go in the office today, so it's just stressful, okay? But, shoot, let me go. Hold on, y'all. Let me go skip this. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get the debate going. All right, let me see. Now, y'all know I'm about to speak from what's provided, no personal thoughts, because I done told y'all what my personal thoughts, and I'm talking about just the case, okay? Victor, what it do? All right, hold on, y'all. Let me go up. Let me go up on y'all comments. Let me see what y'all was saying. All right, let's see. Okay. All right, so first thing Jersey said was, if I was being accused of killing my friend and I wasn't guilty, I'm getting on that stand immediately. I said I personally don't agree, because you could say the wrong thing on the stand and you will get found guilty, right? Okay, Jersey, I agree with you. Well, hold on a second comment. But I've seen cases just off of just research where someone took the stand and they got found guilty, and then like years later they had to like come back on the Innocence Project. If y'all never looked at the Innocence Projects, like content videos and stuff, or cases that they work, check into them, because like the wrong thing could definitely have you in jail for sure. Because again, it's not based off of logic; it's based off of case law. So I don't know how I would feel about taking a stand. It just depends, right? Especially in Melly case, he's already kind of like an unstable type of like person. And I say unstable meaning you just never know what you're gonna get with him. So imagine a person like that taking the stand. I don't know, especially how the DA play ball. I mean, it's his choice, but I wouldn't, just personally. Next. So Jama said guilty, tape Melly to death row. Okay. Justify said he hurt Melly when he said Melly didn't come straight to the house. What y'all think? I kind of see that both ways though, too, Justify. I see that it could definitely hurt Melly's defense, right? Because it's for sure saying that he was in a car besides just a video. But on the flip side, it still doesn't say that Melly was in the car the whole time, because at some point, and now again, y'all got to listen to the first half of the state's questioning, he cannot say without a doubt that once they left, that Melly stayed in the car. See, that's going to be the thing for sure, is that he has to testify they went home. Like, he testified they went home or went to Melly's house, and Melly and them went somewhere else. So he can only confirm to a certain extent. Hold on, let me see what they about to talk. Well, hold on, let's finish this. Gates said, I thought he dropped a lot of useful info. He definitely confirmed a lot of the info for sure, which I wasn't surprised that he wouldn't, because again, he is, like they said, one of the ones who were actually with them to say what was going on before, kind of play into the whole, what is the motive? Remember, they still have not produced the motive. They have definitely put some allegations out there, including they try to throw in there today about the relationship between, allegedly, Jamie King, which is YNW Melly's mom, and Sat Chaser. It was another question that I'm gonna get back into what they're talking about so we can catch up. And then Jersey said, and that he had on different clothes. Now, with that, I mean, to be honest, I changed clothes a million times. That's not to say like he changed because he was covered in blood. It could be though, right? But at the same time, like, we're talking about hours later, okay? Like hours later. So this was around 2 something in the morning. According to the statements back then, they met like 11, 12 o'clock at Melly's house. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, not Melly's, Fredo Bang house allegedly. So the clothes thing, I mean, depends on what side you're on. If you are like, yeah, everything leads to Melly being guilty, then yeah, him having on different clothes would stand out. But see, me, I'm looking at it like that really doesn't mean a lot. Now, if you would have said you saw his clothes with blood on it and he had on different clothes, that there would definitely be it, you know? Let me see here. Main question, Justify said, main question for me, where did y'all go when you didn't go home, and why the fuck you changed clothes? Now, right now, when you put it like that, Justify, for sure, I've been saying it. Like, I need to know why you are not in the video at the hospital. Now, personally, right, on some real stuff, I would want to know why you're not in there. We see you get in, where did you get out? I would definitely need clarification on that. What it do, GD Network? Lil Ninja about to beat a double homicide that he actually did. LOL SMA. Y'all funny. Okay. Where y'all got the throw in the water part? Where that came from? Hold on, let's see what she said. I like Terry Austin. She be speaking some facts. Y'all tell me in the chat where the water thing came from.
To see his family, to be outside of the prison that he's there, the jail that he's in. And so, you know, he might be laughing at times and he might be smiling at times, but I don't take it as he's happy to be here. This is a death penalty case. I am certain that the severity of this crime is weighing on his mind, and the results of the case is a very serious, you know, situation. And I'm certain, and I've seen him be very pensive as well. So if you see him smiling, it's just because, you know, he's talking to his attorneys. That's my impression in any event. I think his demeanor now is not as jovial as it might have been in the beginning. Some of that might have been nerves, but I think at this point he's sort of settled down and he understands how serious the case is, but you can still see him smile from time to time.
Our next question, Linda, comes from Threads, EST_4_18_1981. I'm assuming that's somebody's birthday. Can the judge subpoena Mr. Glass's cell phone records regarding him talking/texting while on the stand, even if they were in recess? Wow. Well, I don't know if I've seen people talk or text on the phone during recess on the stand.
Well, I mean, interesting, because I've had cases where the other side has asked whether or not you talk to anybody on the phone in between a recess and who. The judge cannot subpoena anything unless there's a request from the prosecution, and the prosecution has good cause to believe that some type of order may have been violated. And what could be that order? That could be that the order could be, well, were you talking to another witness about your testimony and influencing another witness? But since everyone basically in the case has testified, that's really not going to go anywhere. So the prosecution could try to do that. But, you know, this is a really smart witness. And I want to repeat again what Tyler said and what we talked about at the beginning of the hour. He knows enough to know that when he's asked whether a statement will refresh his recollection to say no, because you can't use the statement to refresh a recollection if the witness says no. Most people say, sure, let me look at it, right? Maybe it'll help. So he's very smart, and I don't think that he's going to make any mistakes that's going to put him in the, shall we say, as a target of being a snitch at this point in the trial.
Junina43 from Instagram asks Tyler, question, was this witness scared of anyone in the room? Why was he constantly trying to hide his face with his hair?
I can't say if he was scared of anybody in the room. I think that, nobody is used to testifying on the stand, especially in a case of this nature. It's a death penalty case against a former associate of his who he probably has known for years. He has his own legal problems that he's testified about. He does not want to be there. Now, is he scared of anybody in the courtroom? I'm not sure. He probably knows this case is streaming to millions of people across the world, and he does not want to be perceived as a snitch, especially in his community. He's testifying in his county, and he's also an artist as well. So he doesn't want that to probably mess with his career.
Oh,
And there's
done.
a lot of pressure for people to not snitch. Depending, this is the kind of case where people would be freaking out about being perceived as a snitch. It's just the way it is. TikTok. This question comes from TikTok. Terry MD Axeman 3 asks: is there a picture of Melly with different clothes? Can it be proven?
Well, there's certainly still shots of him at the studio, and he's wearing this blue jean type looking jacket, and he was on a photo having that on. I have not seen any photos of him with the shorts on or any still videos of him with these shorts on. He's only had that one outfit where he had pants and this jacket on in the studio and getting into the car, and that's what Trevion Glass actually testified about. Yes, that's Melly right there. You just saw his picture. I just told you that was him. Yeah, he's wearing the same thing. And so there's no picture of him that I am aware of any different clothing. Just so far, Glass's testimony that he came back to the house with different clothing on. And I think he was talking about Fredo Bang's house and not Melly's house, because he came back and forth to Fredo Bang's house.
And Fredo Bangs is the one who picked Melly up that night. We know that from texts and stuff like that. Facebook question, Linda.
Shit.
Catherine Vargas from Facebook asks, how many more witnesses does the prosecution have?
Well, it appears they may have this witness and then a follow-up witness, because we know that they're planning to probably end their case soon. I think they had hoped to get a viewing of the car and then maybe have had another witness to talk about the car viewing. But the judge denied that earlier, as we know. So I think the prosecution is going to close out probably today, at the latest tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Michael Jorgensen from YouTube asks, does the fact that the defense was able to get the witness to admit that he remembered little about that night affect his credibility with the jury? Would it render what he said useless?
I don't think it would render what he said useless. I think it does help out the defense that he doesn't remember much or everything that he said that night. It's something that the defense likely would try.
Yo, so Justify made me think of something. Like, what if this was a play, though? Like, think about it. I said before, like, his demeanor changed when the defense started asking questions compared to what I caught of the state asking him questions. He was more hostile. I mean, he said more extra words like, why are you asking me a question like that? I already answered that. Oh, yeah, I do need to go. I should have smoked. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was saying more things. So, interesting enough. And then the part that I caught, I was half asleep. So if I'm incorrect about this, my bad. But I do recall when they were wanting him to like point out Fredo Bang, he was like, I don't know who house it was. And then he was like, I don't know, it was in some place or whatever. And then they showed him like a picture and all that. And he was like, yeah, I know him as Fredo or whatnot. I don't know nothing else. But then he was like, yeah, we was at Fredo house. But I thought you said you ain't know who house it was. So how was you at Fredo house but not know you at Fredo house, but didn't say you know you was it's I don't know. Like I said, I was half asleep when I heard that part. I'm gonna re-listen to it. But y'all let me know. Did y'all hear that go on? I hate that I missed it. I was knocked out. Okay.
Memory's concerned, it's selective and he remembers what he wants to.
Linda, that doesn't necessarily benefit the defense, though, does it? I mean, you could look at this witness and have different viewpoints. You could think maybe he said something differently back then because he felt pressured, or maybe he's saying things differently now because he doesn't want to be looked at as a snitch. So it could go either way.
Right. Absolutely. And Jeanette, it could go either way. The jury could say, well, wait a second. Your deposition was taken on what, Friday? And you can't remember between then and now what you said, and nothing will refresh your recollection. So you must have said something helpful to the prosecution that you're not going to say now. But the problem is the jury doesn't know what it is. So that's why I think his issue of remembering the clothes could be important. But then again, you know, a lot of the rappers wear the basketball shorts under their sweats and just take off their sweats. So he's wearing shorts to somebody's house. It's different than he was in. That may not mean very much. So very, very interesting witness. Yes, he doesn't want to be there. Yes, he is hiding his face a little bit. Yes, he's in public view. But I think the jury understands that this case is this case, and you're going to see that.
It'll be interesting to see how it all turns out. We're going to take a quick break. Keep the questions coming.
Yeah, Jersey, you are hilarious, okay? Jersey said, hey, ain't like he could see the deed. This is crazy. Jersey is funny. Shout out to Jersey because to be honest, Jersey is the reason why I was able to get up and even realize I was 2.5 hours late. Okay. Shout out to all my True team members. Y'all definitely make sure y'all check up on me to make sure we on schedule. Cause I told it, man, y'all, when I said I was like hard down sleep. And then I looked at my email and saw that I had to come in the office. I'm like, what the else? But anyway. What was talking about? Okay, so KG says, so with all these people changing their story, does that really look good for Melly? I really don't know if it per se make him look good or look good for him, because I mean while at the same time they got definitely some inconsistency, they're still confirming information. You know what I'm saying? Like he still confirmed information. Hear me? Can y'all hear me now? I had a phone call that came through and I think it messed me up. Let me know if y'all can hear me. I had forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Let's see if y'all can hear me. Mic check 1 2 1 2. A about freestyle. Oh, not Kansas. Oh, y'all funny. All right. I don't forgot what we was talking about. Oh, so like, although, like I said, he's inconsistent, he did confirm a lot of things that was not confirmed by a person, right? Because remember, Felicia Holmes could not confirm anything in the flesh. It was all third party information where, oh, I overheard my daughter talking to Melly allegedly and all that. But see, with Travion Glass, he was there. He ain't overheard nothing. He was there. Now it would, it would just, I feel like the little sprinkle that the defense put on about his open case, was definitely a smoke screen, because I mean that case ain't had nothing to do with what's going on. To be honest, I pulled the paperwork, and it was like he was at a house, that they was busting for drugs, and he ran. So that's where that whole situation came from. So, I mean, I don't know. If I was on the jury, that wouldn't really too much like have like a bearing on my decision about that case. Now, Mill situation where literally you get hemmed up 2 days later, you hit us up to talk. You know what I'm saying? Now that's different. And then your case is dismissed and you're um a multiple felon. Hell nah, that's different. So on that, no, I don't really think nothing of the case situation. If anything, it definitely helped the prosecution, because like they said, he wasn't even trying to come testify. And I think that's the situation. People make these statements, and I feel like that's what happened in this. Make the statement, right? To tell something, and maybe he was, like you said, he was grieving, he probably was confused, or he probably knew exactly what was going on. I mean, either way, but they make these statements thinking that's where it ends. Now you have to take the stand, especially if you give the type of information to make it like useful in a trial. You will take the stand, or have to take the stand. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, and that's why we have forced people come on. Oh, I was forced because I didn't want to go to jail. The Felicia Holmes, oh, I got this tracking device on me, all that, because they don't understand that although you're trying to help, you are putting yourself on the line. And one of the things that KG said earlier, he was like, he need to stand on it and stand up for his homies, which is true. If that is what's going on, meaning like you without a doubt know this is true, well, you're gonna have to stand on it. But I feel like you're not gonna do your homeboys justice if you're not gonna stand on it on that stand. Because at this point, you in there now. So I mean, if you really feel like, you know, Melly is guilty based off your knowledge of what went on, and you need to stand on it and do it for your peoples. But if not, you kind of just put yourself in a line of fire. And I say this the most respectful way possible, but it's gonna come off like it is, but it's truth. If you're gonna snitch for whatever reason, you gotta see that thing through, because at the end of the day, you're gonna be labeled a rat regardless. So if you really are doing this for your homies, because of your love for them, then you need to do it correctly. Don't go talking to the police in secret, right? Now you have to take the stand and you backpedaling, because at the end of the day, you're disrespecting your homeboys that quote unquote you were supposed to be doing it for. So, and I don't think all the time they take that in consideration. But what is they talking about? Let's listen. Let's see what they're talking about.
Because that wouldn't help them. The defense may have another witness that they're going to put on the stand that they can put it into their case. So, we really don't know the strategy here, but they have to be very careful when it comes to Cortland Henry, because he is a co-defendant.
Dior_me Tyler from Instagram asks, will they ask Melly, and obviously Melly would have to testify for this to happen, will they ask Melly where the clothing is that he changed out of during the murders?
Well, if he gets on the stand, I'm pretty sure they will. The chance of him getting on the stand in this case, I think, is unlikely. It's a death penalty case. I generally recommend, when the stakes are high enough, that the defendant tell their story. This is one of the cases where I probably would not want to put Melly on the stand. So If he gets on the stand, I'm pretty sure the prosecution would ask him that question. The likelihood of Melly getting on the stand, I believe, is low.
Terry from Instagram as well. DJ Louie Lou asks, is the prosecutor's office still looking for Melly's girlfriend? That's Mariah Hamilton.
I don't think at this point the prosecution is looking for anyone. They know they have to wrap up their case. They had her mother on the stand, if you recall, and that testimony I don't think went very well for the prosecution. She made it clear when she got on the stand that she was afraid and she was feeling intimidated by the prosecutor herself, Ms. Bradley. So I think as far as the daughter's concerned, we're not going to see her called by either the state or the defense for that matter. And frankly, I don't know how much more she has to offer. She took the phone call from Melly when he was telling her that they were in a drive-by shooting. And frankly, I don't think that's very helpful for the prosecution. So I think we'll see the last witness, who is the detective, the lead detective, Moretti. And, you know, he's expected to testify later after Trevion Glass, and he's off the stand now. So we'll see him soon.
Linda Demon KG from YouTube asks, do you think if Melly is found guilty, it will affect Bortland in a positive or negative way?
Oh, that's a really interesting question, isn't it? Because when Bortland goes to trial, he's going to say, hey, wait a second, the shooter is Melly. You can't talk about the verdict so much, but the shooter is Melly. By the same token, if he's an accomplice to the shooting, then it also has a reverse effect, doesn't it? But I just think that's an interesting question, one I can't answer right now. We'll have to see what the verdict is and what happens when you get to his trial.
Mm-hmm. Tyler Two Particles in a podcast from YouTube asks, question, don't you think the jury might notice every time the prosecution wants to bring in any evidence, the defense objects? I would be wondering what they're hiding if I was a juror.
I said that same thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of times jurors, it can get annoying if there's constant objections and what they're trying to hide. But in a case like this, I would think that the jurors would understand eventually the stakes are so high that the defense is going to object. Melly's life is on the line here. At the bare minimum, life in prison if he's convicted. If he still can face a death penalty as well. So the defense objecting to evidence getting in is what they should be doing on a case like this. They got to dot their I's, they have to cross all their T's.
Remixes from YouTube, Terry asks, and we have less than a minute left. If Bortland had gunpowder on his hands, not Melly, and Bortland had a change of clothes on before the hospital, why is Melly being accused on the death penalty and not Bortland?
Probably the best question we've gotten all day. I think that those, gunpowder residue is very important. We have Melly on the stand just because he was sitting in that position, and the medical examiner said that that's where the bullet came from. So that's how the prosecution decided, as between Henry and Melly, which one is getting charged for the death penalty.
So there you have it. They don't believe Bortland was the shooter. That's why, basically. All right. Keep the questions coming to us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. We'll get to as many of them as we can.
Hey, that's a good point. That's a good answer. Because I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of us, even before the trial started, we all had our opinion based off of, what was released, that, Melly, would have been or is guilty without even saying anything. So, and if we're not looking into any of the law type stuff, then yeah, it looks bad. Okay, let me move that off the screen. It looks bad. But I really don't know, y'all. It's kind of like a mixed little situation right now. I kind of, part of me is like, some of the evidence is like very kind of, you can't shake back from it. And then part of me is like, it's not strong enough either. Where's my charger? All right, so hold on. I'm trying to get to my laptop real quick. And yes, y'all had no late now. Shout out to everybody yesterday that pulled up to Rep Your Brand Network Sundays. Shout out to the whole Lady Love Entertainment. I got a couple interviews recorded yesterday, and I wasn't even planning on doing it, but so shout out to Lady Love Entertainment. Shout out to Glass by Chop. Shout out to Tito Gonzalez and Alkeisha, the curvy model. Those interviews are dropping real soon. And yes, I will be to my computer in 1 second. But yeah, y'all, it's this trial is it's interesting, and it's kind of like one of the, like I said, this is a real situation, but we're over here on YouTube. Everything's for entertainment or educational purposes only. But I will say it's one of the ones to have you on the edge of your seat. That's how this one is. With Excess Tashion murder case trial, that was more so of just smoke screens. Like a lot of big names was mentioned. But this one is kind of like the battle of what do you really believe and what do you not believe? What's really just fluff and what actually was proven, if that makes sense. All right, let me see here. All right, y'all know I do my own commercial, so here we go. If you have not already, make sure you go over to MickeyTruth.com. Get your merch, okay? We have a couple things available now. You can book your class. I am enrolling for June 16th class right now. It's $75 up until Wednesday. After Wednesday, no, hold on. It's Friday. Up until Friday, $75. After Friday, it doubles because I have to plan accordingly with my schedule. So make sure you tap in to MickeyTruth.com, okay? Next, let me see. Let me bring up Travion. Let me scan it for no personal information real quick. I do got a question. That's what I need to do first. Hold on. Before I show y'all that, hold on. Let me see. Does anybody know what Drew real name is? The Drew Didn't Film It guy. That's what I need to find out. What is his name? Because I'm starting to hear his name a lot too. I'm coming out. I'm doing some research real quick. Trying to find his name. Because I wonder if he's on the witness list. That's why I'm wondering if I can find out what his name is. His name is like top secret because I don't see it. I don't see it. All right, well, put a pin in it. I don't know what his name is. I wanted to see if he was on a witness list or not, but I don't see nothing. Nothing on here at all. So his name probably won't be one of the ones you got to kind of search a little deeper. So we'll put a pin in. I was just wondering. All right, let me pull up the dog. And another reason. All right, here we go. Hold. No. Pause. Wait. Oh, hold on. Let me stop sharing real quick. Hold on. I might be on something. Hold on. What was the name? Hold it. Dang, shout out to Mickey Truth, aka the queen of paperwork, aka the research goddess, okay? The research goddess. I just want to say that. Oh, shoot. All right, hold on. Dang, I'm good. I shot myself a lot. I ain't gonna lie. I know y'all probably wondering why I'm saying that. I'm gonna tell y'all in a minute. Once I, you know what, KG's like, yeah, forget the legal process, okay? All right, hold on. Let me see. Let me put this back up.
Melly, the celebrity in the car, before they really knew it was him.
Right.
And they had to make a decision between his co-defendant and him for the death penalty. And who do they go after? The famous rapper. So I think it can affect the jury. You just need one.
Darius Sanchez Smith from Facebook asks Tyler, will the death penalty changes affect how the jury decides on the verdict? And I believe they're referring to the changes in the Florida law that allow for an 8-4 verdict on the death penalty, for the death penalty to be rendered as a punishment rather than the unanimous 12-0.
Yeah, it will change, as you said, Anjanette, the number of jurors that have to vote for a death penalty here. Just 8 jurors have to decide that they agree with the death penalty versus 12 unanimous verdict for death penalty. This is a new law that Governor DeSantis put in place. It's different in a lot of jurisdictions throughout this country, given that 8 jurors could vote to have somebody's life, the supreme penalty on the line, and 4 could be against it. It's typically a unanimous verdict for the death penalty. So the jurors will have a lower threshold if that's the route they want to go. I do think it could backfire, though, because I think the jurors with the death penalty being on the line may be thinking or magnifying the doubt that the defense is poking in the state's case. And if you're going to vote to put somebody's life on the line, I think you're going to focus on any issue where there's reasonable doubt or it's not making sense, the state's case.
Terry, J. Red's Jowry on Threads asks, do you think Melly needs more psychological help rather than prison time?
Well, I haven't seen any evidence to say that he needs psychological help. I think all of the evidence so far has him as, a rapper, someone who was climbing to fame, someone who is very popular. I haven't seen any evidence to say that, he has any medical issues as far as, mental instability is concerned. Off the record, I mean, we have heard that he may have some issues, but I'm not going to comment on that because it's nothing that we've seen that has been introduced into evidence. I haven't seen any behavior that indicates he may have, ADD or something to that effect, which millions of people do have. So I don't think that his medical or mental health has much to do with this trial at all. And certainly this jury has not seen any evidence to that effect.
Michael Jorgensen, Linda from YouTube asks, at this point, do you think the defense needs to attempt to provide an alternate version of the crime, or do they just poke holes in what's been presented so far?
That is a great question because we as defense lawyers always talk about that. I am a very big one in the defense case when I have a team to have an alternate version of who the killer is. I think that gives the jurors that have that doubt more to talk about than just poking holes in the crime, in the prosecution case. And also the defense can go after a motive, okay? One of the things, the prosecution doesn't have to prove, but why at that time would Melly decide to kill some of that has been described as his best friend. So I think that the defense should rely on that, have their own crime scene reconstructionist, and have a version that puts the gun in another person's hands.
Paul Hannigan from YouTube, Tyler Bailey asks, and he's from Ireland, so thanks for watching from Ireland. Has there already been enough reasonable doubt raised that the jury should acquit, and will the defense ask for a JOA, judgment of acquittal?
Great questions. Early on in this case, before the reconstructionist testified and the medical examiner, I would say seemed to be a stronger case for the defense. I do think those state's witnesses have helped their case greatly, showing that the kill shots came from the back seat, and also showing the trajectory of the shots, and that they were dead at the time they were shot from outside the vehicle. The defense probably would move for that motion. I do not believe the judge would grant it in any situation. There's reasonable doubt. Is it enough to have Melly acquitted is a question. We still got to see the defense's case. And I think if there is an alternative theory of the shooter, maybe somebody else did a drive-by shooting, who that could have been, or their enemies, there's a lot that could come out that could help the defense's case.
Terry, Wilson from YouTube asks, have any other cars been spotted on CCTV in the area that could have committed the drive-by?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, we've had these videos that were introduced and played by the prosecution of cars going on a highway, but they weren't identified as anybody's car in particular. We know about the two primary cars, the gray Jeep and also the red Mitsubishi, but those are the only two cars that have been identified in the crime scenes. And the crime scenes include, obviously, the studio, and also we saw one of the cars coming into the housing complex, the Jeep, I believe, but we haven't had any other cars identified. So there may be other cars that are driving that at some point will be identified, but the prosecution is the one who introduced those videos. She had someone come in, lay the foundation. She played those videos, but she didn't describe them or other cars. So for now, we just have those two primary cars.
Linda, Russell Thomas from YouTube asks about Travion Glass. Did the last witness commit perjury, saying he didn't talk to authorities, then presented with the statement that he made?
Well, I don't know if you can call it perjury here, Russell, but it is a good question and something the jurors may think about. I mean, no, he talked to authorities and he talked to the prosecution and he had his deposition taken. So everyone knows that he talked, but the question is does he remember what's in the statement? And it's very hard to prove that, even though we think that he is just a savvy witness who would say, I don't recall and nothing will help me recall, you really can't prove that's perjury. I mean, there was a famous case years ago, probably before you were born, Oliver North, in a federal case. He was a general accused of perjury, but he really couldn't have been because his answer.
All right. So I'm glad. See, that's why you got to research. Okay. So yeah, that wasn't what I thought. Okay. So the reason why I was like, oh, shoot, you know what I'm saying? Because Travion Glass got arrested with a guy named Drew. And I was like, yo, is that the same Drew? If Drew didn't film it, guy? Now, I'm going to say I've been looking at the mug shot of the person on the case. And I've been over here looking at what Drew filmed it on Instagram looks like. And I don't think it's the same person. I'm going to show y'all. I don't think it's the same person. So hold on. Let me pull up a good picture. Yeah, I don't think it's the same person. And this person has been so this is Drew filmed it. And he's been posting recently. And see, this person that's on there is like still in jail right now. So I don't think this is him. But we about to see. I really don't think so. I don't think it's him. Yeah. I'm going to show y'all who the guy is, though. Yeah. So before I show y'all, just letting y'all know now, I don't think it's him. But at first, the name Drew stood out. But here we go. So this is a Drew that got arrested with Travion Glass. So in my opinion, that's not the same person at all. So yeah, just say that. But we're about to get into the paperwork. Well, at least what happened with the Travion Glass situation. As soon as I boom right here. All right, so it says on Tuesday, May 30th, 2023, the Indian River County Sheriff's Office executed a narcotics-related search warrant at 3457 44th Place. As SWAT arrived on scene and began giving their search warrant announcement, Travion Glass exited the residence through a door on the west side of the aforementioned residence. The announcements were given over a loudspeaker from an Indian River County SWAT vehicle with emergency lights activated. Glass ran south from the residence through the backyard of 3456 44th Street. I was in a perimeter position at the south side of the address. I instructed Farrington to stop, to which he did not comply. Glass then began running east towards 33rd Ave. Glass was taken into custody by Sergeant Kirby. After a brief foot chase, post Miranda, Glass informed me he fled because he does not like cops. Travion Glass was transported to the Indian River County Jail for resisting arrest without violence. Now, I will say this. It's kind of like odd, right? To see that he told him that, but at the same time, you gave a full statement in 2019 to the police. So do you like police or you don't like police? Or you just don't like police when you're the subject of the police matter? You know? I don't know. Interesting enough, but I think they should be coming back up any moment now. So when the court comes back in session, I will allow it to play because I do have to start getting dressed to go in the office, but I'll be here listening. I'll be in the chat, and I will be going live until probably 3 o'clock. Because I don't want to keep the live going when I leave home, because then, my service be acting crazy. So I would prefer just not to be on it. So I'll stay live until 3 o'clock when I got to leave, and we're gonna chop it up. I'm definitely gonna tap back in tonight because Officer Detective, I'm not sure his title, okay. Okay, KG got a point. He like the police more than that cell for sure. So tonight, because the star witness, okay, it's in my opinion, star witness, Detective Moretti. Okay, Detective Moretti to me is a star witness. We thought Polo was a star witness because of his knowledge of the ins and outs of gang culture. But Detective Moretti was the original detective on this case. He was the original detective to talk with Mills. He was the original detective to talk with Withers. He was the original detective to talk to Bortman. He was the original detective to talk to, guess what? Jamie King. Original detective that talked with the aunt of Christopher Williams, aka YNW Juvie. He was the main guy on the case from the start. Okay, he was the one that Felicia Holmes contacted to provide her information in 2018. This guy is one of the official police officers or law enforcement that can't say in real time that he was actively there and was told XYZ. What does that mean for the case? I don't know. Who will get thrown into the loop? I don't know, because he has talked to every witness almost that's listed. It's not going to be hearsay because he has directly talked to the witnesses. Definitely looking forward to see how the defense is going to strategize with this witness. Now, according to experts, Moretti is supposed to be the last witness. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know, but I will say this: according to the motion hearing, they are scheduled to rest soon because the defense is scheduled around the 17th to start. So I don't know if Moretti is going to take up all week this week for his testimony, or if it's somebody else that's coming behind him. Now, my question is this. We have heard Track's name a lot, 100K. So far, he has not been called as a witness for the state. Do y'all think he will be called as a witness for the defense? Because I don't see how he's not going to take the stand at all. Right? His name gets mentioned so much. But then again, maybe he won't. He hasn't been charged at all, in regards to this case. I'm putting a poll up. As far as Fredo Bang, based on how his name has been mentioned a lot, I'm talking about like week after week, day after day. However, based on his deposition, I doubt he's gonna take the stand. And if he did get subpoenaed successfully, he's gonna plead the fifth the same way he did in a deposition. What does that mean? It depends on how you want to look at it. You know, like I said, in my opinion, I did a video on it. Check it out. It's just when you certain rules, whether he was the one for real that did pick Melly up or not, when you live by a certain code, you're not going to speak on it. And when I spoke with him, that's what I got. Like at the end of the day, he said he's a real street dude before a rapper. So I doubt he's going to even say anything if he does take the stand. And to be honest, according to his song, he ain't get it. Okay, let's see what she's saying, and then we'll get back into it.
Deal with the defendant, co-defendant, and the victims on the night of the murders. While the court is still on their lunch recess, let's recap key moments of his direct examination. Let's go right into court now.
So let's go back to October 26th of 2018. What were you doing like for work?
I wasn't working at all.
All right. Were you involved in the music business at all?
Kind of, sort of.
And how so?
Making beats.
All right. And when you were making beats, were you working with a specific group or music group or people?
One person to be particular, but yeah,
Okay.
supposed to be in a group.
All right. Let's start by saying this. What group was it?
YNW.
All right. And when you said one person specifically, who was that person?
Julie.
Okay. And can you tell the members of Judy's real name?
Christopher Thomas.
And how long have you known Christopher Thomas, who you refer to as Judy?
Over a decade.
Okay. And this is back in October. And did you know somebody by the name of Anthony Williams who went by Sack Chaser?
Yeah.
And how long have you known Sack Chaser?
A couple years.
And who's that person?
The best of my knowledge, man.
Okay. And the person I'm referring to, what is he wearing?
A jacket.
All right. Do you recognize the person on the other side of the photograph wearing what appears to be a black shirt?
Kind of, sort of.
If you do.
No, I don't.
Okay. Mr. Glass, let me know if I need to rewind the video, but you had a chance to look at the face of the individual wearing what appears to be a white shirt and blue shorts.
It's me.
Okay. Continuing to publish. I'm pausing the video at 2:18:41. Do you see that individual carrying something across his shoulder, wearing what appears to be a blue jacket? Do you see that person on the video? Do you see the back of the head of the person wearing the jeans jacket?
Correct.
Was that person the same person that you previously identified in state?
Sustain, rephrase it.
Okay. We previously looked in state 72 at an individual you identified as Melly.
Objection.
Do you see the jacket in states 72, image number 3, the front of that jacket?
Yeah.
You see that jacket in states image 1 of state 72.
I see the same thing y'all see.
We spoke about this, Mr. Glass.
I'm saying that.
You ask questions, right?
I'm asking questions, Mr. Glass, and I'm just asking you to respond if you have knowledge. Is that jacket that was in image number 1 and image number 3 the jacket that Melly was wearing on October 26th of 2015?
To the best of my knowledge.
All right, so I want to play this real quick, but we're gonna recap his full testimony later on this evening when I go back live. But I'm gonna play the song by Fredo Bang called "Free Melly," where I took this is his answer to all of us who are wondering if he will take the stand or not. Well, like I said, that's that. Now I will say he's referring to more than just the whole Melly situation. I did take that second verse as towards young boy and that whole situation or someone along that area. In my opinion. Okay. It could be somebody else, but I definitely don't feel like that's per se in regards to the Melly case. First verse, definitely. I feel like that's that. Personally, just based off of what was done in 2022 when the deposition happened, I mean he pled the fifth on any question regarding the case at all. I told y'all when I did have the conversation with him, he was adamant of how much love he has for Melly, and he wouldn't do nothing to mess that anything up for Melly, and he would definitely like take the hit or whatever anybody got to say. I mean, so when someone got that type of genuine love for somebody, I mean, it's not you. I mean, shoot, I can tell you, it's definitely something. Because they have been saying his name since day one. In the situation. Now, what I can say on paperwork, right? They, as far as what he has provided, right, and we went over that on live from the actual Broward County public records. He didn't say anything, anything that could do anything with this case. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to help Melly in the end or if that's not. I mean, I don't know. What y'all think? Y'all think about Fredo Bang pleading the fifth and not addressing or confirming anything is going to help Melly, or is it going to hurt him in the end? Y'all let me know.
Be that Melly had either changed his clothes or was just wearing shorts on?
Yes. Because why? It's a kind of weird fact in this case, right? But there's a lot of one or two things here that things can come down to. One of the things that I've noticed during this trial is just his deportment and decorum in the courtroom, constantly trying to cover his hair, trying to obscure himself. A jury wants to believe someone that they like, not someone that seems like they're hiding something. And changing clothes seems like they're hiding something. And hiding behind a computer and your hair covering your face, likewise, it looks like you're hiding something. So I think that piece of evidence can be pretty powerful ultimately in the end.
But let me just tell you, there wasn't, Terry Austin's been in the courtroom. She said that he apparently cannot see out of one eye. So the court, or has trouble seeing out of one eye. So the court moved the screen so he could see. And then it wasn't moved back until somebody later said, oh, can we now move the screen back and see his face? So that's what happened. That's why we were watching a Dell computer testify, it seemed. Okay, Bob Mata. One of the things that happened this morning was that the prosecution also tried to get a view for the jury of the car. And the defense objected. They said they hadn't even seen the car. And the judge said, no, I can't understand the defense who would not go see a piece of evidence. I mean, usually, and I've said this before, when I'm in a case, we go see evidence so much that there's motion to the prosecution that says no, even though the evidence should belong to all of us. In the Hernandez case, for instance, we couldn't see the car that the victims were shot in because it had been sold to the state of, it went to somebody in the state of Georgia, not Georgia in the United States, but Georgia and Russia. But I don't understand that because sometimes you can find evidence. Bob, your thoughts?
Yeah, as far as why the defense objected, the only thing that I can think of is in terms of the kind of the damning evidence that they had put on last week with respect to the two forensic officers who had been out there. It was pretty damaging, in terms of the bullet holes and where they were and see.
Bob, you're breaking all up. So let me just go to Krista on this. Krista, let me cut Bob off for a second. Bob, you're broken up. Let me go to Krista. Krista, let's talk about this for a second. But you can find evidence. You can find evidence if you're a defense attorney. You can go with your experts and look at stuff. I don't understand that maybe they felt that they shouldn't look at it. I just don't get it. I don't get it. And I think that if he gets convicted, that could be one thing, an issue on appeal. Your thoughts?
I cannot understand not only the defense team not wanting to look at it, but as you said, taking your experts there, because I might see something as an attorney that clicks to something that might lend itself to credibility of a witness or what someone is trying to say. On the other side, my expert might find all sorts of pieces of evidence or things that I wouldn't even think of looking for or at. And so, yes, it's bizarre. And it's not only bizarre, it's borders on malpractice to not have already seen that car. I mean, much less, for the jury view, not to have seen the car, I think is what he said. So I am pretty stunned by that.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, let me just tell you a story before we go to break. Again, in the Hernandez case, we went to see the evidence, and I found an exit wound that had not been marked on the shirt of one of the decedents, an exit wound from a bullet that changed where the trajectory was, that had not been noted on any of the prosecution discovery. Me, an attorney. So anyhow, I think that you always have to go see the evidence in the case, no matter what side you're on, but we'll see if it has an effect here. And we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll go right back into that courtroom and bring you more of this stunning testimony we're hearing this morning. Stay with us.
So there we go. KG says, so how did Melly tell authorities we were in a drive-by if he was not in the car? Y'all gotta remember, he never told the authorities anything. He put it, unfortunately, he put it in the documentary. That's a troublesome. I don't believe they have actually said it in court, but in the documents, and I even showed y'all when we went and looked it up. So yeah, he never spoke with police to tell them anything. But yeah, it's at the very end of the documentary. Yeah. Yo, Flacco don't waste no time, okay? Look at this. Witness testify YNW Melly changed clothes after murder at Fredo Bane's house. Now, that man did not say he changed clothes at Fredo Bane's house. He said he was in different clothes once he got to Fredo Bane's house. I mean, again, it's kind of like, that's crazy. That's crazy. But again, hold on, let me go back because they should be coming back in a minute. Let me see what y'all say. Oh, so she was referring to a different case, the Hernandez case, not this one. If he got a phone call, then on what phone? Huh? What you talking about, KG? Hold on. How did you know there was a drive-by if you weren't there? Oh, is that what you're saying? See that, okay, so again, this has not been entered into testimony in court yet, but in the original affidavit or paperwork, it refers to the documentary, and at the very end it says Melly and his hold on, let's get back to it.
But the state has collected 20 videos. I think we're down to 25 videos. We're down to 24, just showing who is using the phone and operation on the phone.
I don't know the relevancy of that, and it's repetitious to the 525 photos that we went through in about 3 hours the other day, coming from reportedly his phone. I don't know why we have to go through all of this again. And there's also a short video of a little baby on that also. I don't know what the relevancy of any of this is. And if it is relevant, if she can't get it through the 525 pictures that we have to sift through, where she manually counted each one, I don't know what we're doing, Judge, quite honestly. So I would object on relevancy. Cumulative. These are fancy words for me.
Commissioner, the state has to prove that the defendant was the one using the 772-713-9807 phone number. This is a short selection that is representative of the number of videos that are on there that show the defendant being the person using the phone. The defense has argued that it is not his own in any way, shape, or form. So this is showing that there is no one else on there, and that even with photos and videos that show other people, for example, have the defendant using the cell phone to FaceTime and videotape a FaceTime of another individual. And if constantly showing the phone in the defendant's hand, sometimes reflected in some sunglasses or eyeglasses on screen.
I know counsel objected to on relevance grounds. I already breached that, and we crossed that bridge a while ago. I overruled that objection. But now there's another objection to cumulative. Haven't we seen this, these videos and pictures?
We have not. These are different ones from different time frames, showing that the defendant had exclusive control of this phone for all times relevant to this case.
There's one where there's a child on it, and I think it violates the children's, what is it?
Online Privacy Protection Act, which says children under the age of 13 cannot be filmed or published without the parents' consent. One of those videos is a video of
A little kid. John?
What's that video about?
It shows the defendant's voice in the video. It then has him filming a FaceTime of another individual. The state didn't create these videos, the defendant did, so if anything, he's the one who would be in violation of that particular act.
I disagree with that.
I don't know what the act says, but what is this statute say?
I'm not familiar with the first time that it's been brought to my attention.
code imposes certain requirements on operators of websites or online services directed to children under 13. Long and short of it is basically you cannot record or publish children under the age of 13 without their parents' permission.
What's the statute number?
It would be 16 CFR Part 312. Children's Online Privacy Protection Act.
16 CFR 12.
Part 312, Judge.
312.
I forgot to bring things back.
So how many of these videos do you have?
There are 24 now, Your Honor, out of 1,000.
All right, and you want to show this one that with the child as well?
Yes, Your Honor, shows the defendant holding the phone and videoing.
You can show some of these other videos first. All right?
Yes, Your Honor. Do you want to see the one in question?
No, I want to see what this statute says, 16 CFR 312.
Your Honor, there's an additional individual. First of all, I just wanted to crystallize our position that if they're putting in 530 photos to establish that it's his phone, adding another 20-something videos doesn't move the ball. It's cumulative and should be excluded. We object on those grounds. There's also video number 1, 2, 3, 4. And in that video, Mr. Demons uses a pejorative term that I don't want, that I think will be inflammatory, and on 403 grounds we would object. It refers to Caucasians as crackers. And I don't want any of the jurors who might be of that race to form a negative impression and be prejudiced in their assessment for the sake of proving that Mr. Demons owns a phone that they've already seen 530 photos from.
Judge, with regards to that last video that counsel is taking issue with, this is the absolute last video or audio file that is on this phone before the defendant turns himself in. And he does use that term, however, I think in the totality of the circumstances, it is more probative than prejudicial.
We stipulate that he used the phone on that day.
My name is Melly, and I'm gonna turn myself in, but I'm in a suitcase because these privates are harassing me, and I have to get on a private jet. I don't want them to see me.
So in terms of, it shows the defendant just prior to his arrest and booking, and showing that he was turning himself in, which has already been testimony about, that was brought in from the defense with regards to Deputy Naycock, who did the booking prints in this case.
We'll stipulate that he used the phone on that day. to avoid the potential prejudice of him offending jurors on the racial pejorative.
Play it again.
Sure.
This is Jane Fleet. My name is Melly, and I'm gonna turn myself in, but I'm in a suitcase because these brothers are harassing me, and I have to get on a private jet, and I don't want them to see me.
And so,
Anything else?
just to be clear, there has been numerous other inflammatory, racially motivated terminology and language that has been used, and there's been no objection on that front.
You all done? Anything else?
Nothing else.
All right, so regarding the one with the presumably under 13-year-old child on the video, just hold that until I can see what the CFR say. Published the jury regarding the last video where the pejorative terms used, crackers. Just go ahead and delete it, all right?
So the county's permission is I can take out just that term?
Yep.
Okay.
That's what he's.
I'll need a couple of minutes to do that.
I hope that's enough.
All right, real quick. So, as far as the phone, hold on. What was this KG question? Said if that saying is not the same phone, then what phone was he using to get all this info? Well, the thing is, they can have it like he didn't hear it from a phone, he heard it in person, because at some point he connected with somebody, you know what I'm saying? So they could say, oh, the person whoever he was with told him, you know what I'm saying? So like they really don't even have to establish that, because no one has said that he actually got it from like the phone. Like with the witness Glass, he said someone called him, this person called me, that's how I got it. By then it hasn't started circulating, because even Jamie King in her original statement to police said that she received a call and then tried to reach out to Melly in regards to it. And then the aunt of one of the victims was like, well, Jamie King called me. So it just was like a bunch of word of mouth going around. The other thing, as far as the clothes, said if the witness confirmed he changed clothes, then where are they? So now remember, the witness that said it already said he went to Melly's house, went to sleep, got woken up by whoever, because it wasn't clear on who exactly woke him up. Then went to the hospital. Then went to the hospital with Drew, didn't film it according to his testimony, right? And then at that point, they left the hospital, possibly when Bortman left, because remember he leaves the hospital too, and then goes to Fredo Bain's house. So I mean, he is just saying, well, the last time I saw him in the wee hours of the morning, he had on this outfit, but now he has on some basketball shorts, which is different, right? Again, just like with Bortman, they said that Bortman changed clothes, but in reality, Bortman had the hoodie in his hands the whole time. He just put the hoodie on. He still had the clothes that had the blood on it, right? So in the same dynamic, we can say, did Melly have on basketball shorts under his clothes? Did he lay down and took his clothes off to get comfortable? I mean, again, not saying that's what happened. That's just reasonable doubt for it, though. If that answers the question. Like I said, y'all, I can't look. I normally would be ready to go word for word, but today I'm tired. I don't know why I'm tired. I'm just tired. I'm over here trying to iron my clothes. I hate iron, okay? But, and it's just, they meet right now. He's looking at some things. I do feel like, though, the defense is doing well with challenging a lot of Okay, just sound like states. Okay, here they go. Thought it was talking, but they're doing a good job at what I was saying. Dang it, I forgot. Oh, they're doing the prosecution is doing a good job of oversaturating the evidence, but the defense is countering doing a good job with saying, yo, they putting 500 photos in here. Like, it's on them to say which one of these 500 is part of their case. So I will say in that aspect, I give a point to each side. They're doing well at that for sure. Hold on, real quick. Well, you can't produce. This is the thing. Portland, they got Portland closed the night of and didn't test them for nothing. Saying so they didn't see Melly till 4 months later. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like that would be a problem even if they did find the clothes. Because then the defense can argue, well, so now you want to test the clothes of Melly, who we're already saying you're targeting, but you didn't test the clothes of the co-defendant. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of feel like either way, depending on what side you're on, it could cause an issue with that. Yeah, so the clothes is out. Now it would have been, and then you gotta remember this was years ago. Did they ever go looking for the clothes? Did they provide a search warrant to Fredo Bain's house where they're alleging everything took place? In my opinion, if you had enough evidence to say the transition from the crime to when everybody met up after the hospital was at Fredo Bain's house, did you go over there and submit a search warrant? Probably not. You know why? Because you didn't have enough information or probable cause. So now at this point, yeah, that's just dead in the water, to be honest. Dead in the water. Wouldn't that at least put him in the vehicle? Well, he's already put in the vehicle. See, this is the thing, right? He's already put into the vehicle, but it's like a double-edged sword. So yeah, we see YNW Melly getting into the left side of the vehicle, damaging to the defense. We also see YNW Melly does not appear into the camera shots at the hospital. That's a dagger for the prosecution. Because now, and that's why they're putting so much emphasis on this phone records and getting people to without a doubt, because they didn't track the car, they tracked the phone. So that's why it's important to them to lay this phone on Melly without a doubt, because guess what? The same way the defense will have to have a reason to explain why Melly, when Melly got out the car, the defense will have to, without a doubt, reasonable doubt, say why he was in the car the whole time up until. See, right now they have the phone for sure. They have a phone tracker, right? But that's not enough in court to pin that. That's why they're trying to put out the groundwork with these witnesses that, Melly was there. I like glass. Oh yeah, Melly got in that car, and up until the point we went home, he was still in that car. You know what I'm saying? Like, although he can't testify to say what happened at the shooting, he can say that. So right now they're just trying to put more reason to this evidence than doubt to the evidence, if that makes sense. Oh, definitely. Moretti is definitely going to be that guy. Okay. Now I will say this. Hopefully Moretti is a good witness as far as on the stand compared to Polo, because it's some documents that has been filed on behalf of Jamie King and all that could be brought up to attack his credibility and if he's reliable, because it's a document early on that the defense filed stating that Detective Moretti didn't originally put that Jamie King spoke to him. He didn't put that Jamie King provided YNW Melly's phone number. He later put it on record once, YNW Melly was arrested and stuff. That's on file from 2019. Another thing, just last year, 2022, Jamie King filed with not only the court for the case, but also with the police association or whoever, like internal affairs, because she said that her hand was injured by Detective Moretti when he took her phone or blindsided her with the subpoena to get her phone. That's on record. So if I'm familiar with what's going on so far, the defense is definitely going to attack Moretti, because that's the only way, because he is the one person that has talked to everybody, right? The one person who provided a deposition and said, well, I got this from this person, I got this from this person. He is the person that does not have to hearsay or, like for Polo, look at YouTube videos. He actually physically spoke with people. But at the same time, his delay, if y'all remember the note that was put on record stating that that it said, yo, run this again, the defendant DNA is not on it. This is the same detective, okay? So like, it's gonna be a battle, and I'm actually intrigued to hear about it or hear his testimony for sure. Let me see, is this new?
All right, let's get back on the record. The state of Florida versus Devin. President is the defendant, his counsel, the assistant state attorneys, juries, and a jury. Regarding the objection was posted about the child on the CFR, that objection noted. I looked at the CFR in question. I don't think it's applicable. The objection notice over here. All right, and he took out the word term cracker.
I did, Your Honor, and I played it for Mr. Howard twice, so you can verify that it is silent during that portion.
Thank you. Spring jury.
We could have Detective Melly take the stand.
Sure.
The Tatum already called.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Please be seated. Let the record once again reflect the presence of our jury, as well as the defendant, Mr. Devins, his counsel, the assistant state attorney. And Friday, this is your next witness.
Yes, Detective Mark Moretti.
Mr. Moretti, if you raise your right hand for us.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You state your full legal name for the record.
Mark Moretti,
Spell your first and last name for the court report.
M-A-R-K, M-O-R-E-T-T.
Thank you.
Please have a seat. That microphone in front of you only goes up or down, it doesn't move back and forth, all right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, you may.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Detective. How are you today?
Well, ma'am, thank you.
Where do you work?
City of Miramar,
How long have you worked for the City of Miramar?
20 years.
And what is your current assignment with the City of Miramar?
Homicide unit.
How long have you been in the homicide unit?
Since 2000, started working in homicide cases in 2016.
Prior to becoming a homicide detective for the City of Miramar, what other hats did you wear?
I also worked in economic crimes for a couple of years. Before economic crimes, I worked in street crimes, which is street level narcotics, gangs, robbery, violent offenders. Before that, I worked in traffic unit, as well as traffic homicide. And then before that, I was in road patrol.
Prior to your time in the Miramar Police Department, did you work for any other law enforcement agency?
Yes, I worked for Pinehurst Police Department in Miami from 1998 to 2003.
And don't make me do math, 2003 to the current, you've been with Miramar?
Yes, ma'am.
Prior to Pinecrest, did you serve in the military or any of the armed forces?
Yes, ma'am, I did a total of 20 years in the military. I did 7 years active in the Air Force, got out shortly after 9/11, went into the Coast Guard Reserve, did another 13 for a total 20 years. I served in enlisted as well as in the officer corps for the Coast Guard.
So in terms of your training experience as a police officer and a detective, did you attend a police academy?
Yes, in 1997, while still on active duty in the military, I went to St. Petersburg Criminal Justice Center.
And approximately how long was that police academy training?
A couple months.
After you became an officer with Pinecrest, did you have on-the-job training?
Yes, ma'am.
And at Pinecrest PD, did you hold any special titles or roles?
I was a drug recognition expert for field sobriety impaired drivers. Also maintained the maintenance on the intoxilizer for courtroom purposes.
In terms of homicide specifically, do you have training in just that area?
In Pinecrest?
And all your time in law enforcement?
I've had about 240 hours in homicide investigations. The first class was death investigations here in Broward County. The second one was the Miami-Dade Police Department's homicide school. And then the third one is through IPTM, which is Institute of Police Technology and Management, which is another 40 hours of formalized training in the area of homicide investigations. And I attended 3 conferences, which each one is 40 hours long, and specifically to homicide investigations for about 240 hours, just a specialized training.
In terms of on-the-job training, do you have practical experience handling homicide cases?
Yes, I started slowly working homicide cases in 2015, just as training. I was basically writing warrants for the unit. I was doing fraud, and so when they were on scene, they'd be at the station, and I would get a phone call to, start authoring warrants to be prepared for the judge.
Okay, in terms of the number of homicide cases you've handled since you said 2016 is when you went to that unit?
Yes, ma'am.
How many homicide cases, or death investigations, I should say, have you handled since then?
Homicide cases I've been involved in about 40 of them to this point. As the lead, maybe 12, 15. Total death investigations, probably another 20 or 30.
So I want to talk about cell phones. Is that another area you have training and experience in?
Yes, ma'am.
What classes have you taken in from Celebrate?
I've been through the basic Celebrate examiner's course to conduct a digital forensic examination with the cell phone, and then interpreting the data from the cell phone as well.
Okay, and in terms of the number of cases that you've worked, could you give an approximate number that involves the data from a cell phone itself?
I've probably handled, over the years, probably 75 to 100 cases, specifically just with cell phones.
What about cell phone company data? The true call, the per call measurement, all of that?
I've been dealing with that since I came into the Detective Bureau. So that would be in 2013. I've had a bunch of specialized training in regards to cell sites. I've been to a forensic mapping course. I've been through with the platform what we use to analyze the cell site data, which is called CellHawk, which is a different platform. Then I've been to the FBI's course, which is the CAST. And I still use CAST, the CAST platform, but for different aspects of cell site analysis. And I've been through an actual specific course for cell phone investigation, just using the phone in your investigations.
Can you explain to ladies and gentlemen what is CellHawk? That's the first time they've heard this term.
CellHawk is the same. It's very similar to what the FBI uses. FBI uses what's called CASPIS. CellHawk is just a mapping program working off of Google Maps, to which we plot the data for the cell phone. It takes a lot of the work out. I mean, in the past, when we first started to analyzing cell data, we would have to actually plot the towers ourselves, determine what sector, draw the azimuth. Nowadays, we can just take the cell records and put it into CellHawk. We still have to authenticate it, make sure that the data is being read properly. and then we're able to make our determination or apply the data to our case.
So you mentioned plotting and things like that. Do you use mapping software in your day-to-day work as a detective?
Of course, I mean, we just regular Google Maps, Google Earth. It's also a method of open source investigations is using the mapping.
So I'm going to go to October 26th of 2018. Did you have an occasion to become involved in a Miramar Police Department investigation under Miramar case number 18-10-06269?
Yes, ma'am.
What was your role?
I was called out around about 6 o'clock in the morning. Detective Bertrand called me. I was off, was not working. Hector was in his final year and a half of employment, and he didn't want to take on any new cases. He asked me, he said, I have him at the hospital. I have 2 dead bodies. Would you mind coming out? Of course, I said, yeah, that's fine.
So when you got to the hospital, what did you see?
When I first got on scene, I made contact with the on-scene supervisor, which was Sergeant Bermudez. And he walked me through the scene, which was, at that point, it was just a 2018 Jeep Compass that was parked in the emergency unloading zone. It had many bullet holes on it.
Time out for just a second. Can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury how the emergency room unloading zone is separate and different from other areas of the hospital?
It's a pull-up where it has the electric sliding doors that it allows you straight access into the emergency room. Which, all hospitals are relatively standard in that sense that there's going to be a quick immediate access for hospital personnel to provide immediate care in triage type situations.
Is the emergency room the only entrance into that hospital?
No, you can come, there's an entrance off of Pembroke Road, and there's an entrance off of 172.
And when you came to the scene, do you remember which side you went to first?
No, ma'am.
Okay. The time when you get to the hospital, you talked about speaking with Sergeant Bermudez. Who else did you see on scene?
A couple of the detectives were already there. Detective Bertrand, Detective Toyota was there. And then also a couple of the other sergeants, because we had 2 young males that were deceased. So it prompted a lot of people to be called out to the scene.
Okay. And in terms of civilians, were there any civilians on scene when you got there?
At that point, I wasn't made aware of all the civilians on scene until after we had spoken with Cortland Henry.
Okay. So you mentioned Cortland Henry. Who is that?
Cortland Henry is the driver of the vehicle, and he is also the co-defendant in this case.
And when you made contact with Mr. Henry, where was that?
They had him separate from everyone else. He was in a visiting a room, a treatment room. It was an actual hospital room with a door, not just a sliding shade. It actually was door, window, bed.
When you made contact with Mr. Henry, did you have any knowledge of the surveillance footage from the New Era studio that's been entered into evidence of State 7?
No, ma'am. At that point, I came into it blindly.
So how did you treat Mr. Henry?
He was a victim of a crime.
So the ladies and gentlemen of the jury have already heard the statement that you took. During the course of that statement, what things in that Mr. Henry said started setting off a little bit of alarm bells for you?
The biggest thing is where the crime allegedly had occurred. We were being told it was on Miramar Parkway, just west of Southwest 160, as closer to 172 in that area there. But when we had the area walked out, we didn't find any shell casings, didn't find any shards of glass, and you're in a residential. Yes, there is businesses there, but on the south side is residential. As many bullet holes there was in that car. Initially, I think I saw at least 10, and we didn't get a single phone call.
Okay. So when you were there on scene, did you look at the car that was out there? You said you saw at least 10 bullet holes?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you notice any damage to the rims or the tires of the vehicle?
No, ma'am.
Did Mr. Henry tell you about like a side swiping of a curb?
He said that when a vehicle pulled up next to him and started shooting, he lowered his position in the vehicle for his safety, and he hit the curb. But there was some front end damage, but you could tell it was older front end damage.
Was that explained during the course of his statement? That's from the prior accident?
Yes, ma'am, I believe so.
In terms of the way you treated him, what were you taking into account?
He's a victim of a crime. And sometimes when you experience very traumatic situations, you're not going to remember everything. And it's understandable that you're going to be vague sometimes in your facts. And even if you're not from the area, you may be confused on the location. So our biggest thing was that we knew something happened. We knew it just didn't happen where they said it happened.
Why is it important for a law enforcement officer to know where something happened?
Well, we got to establish venue, which is then for jurisdiction for us to investigate the crime.
Speaking of venue, in what city, county, and state is Memorial Miramar Hospital?
So the city of Miramar, county of Broward, state of Florida.
And at that point, when you're making contact with Cortland Henry, does the name Jamel Demmons come up in any way, shape, or form?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any indication that he was in the car told to you at that point?
No, ma'am.
You mentioned at some point in the statement another shooting off of I-95.
Yes, ma'am.
What investigation did you do to see how that was potentially related to this case?
I was able to get a hold of the detective on scene, which is Detective Curcio from Broward Sheriff's Office. And I was able to compare notes and discuss and figure out that shooting was definitely not related to our shooting. They even had a weapon left on scene, which was, I believe, an assault style rifle, and we was able to determine that was not related to us.
In terms of, were you able to determine if different caliber weapons were used in those two shootings?
To the best of my recollection, there was different calibers, and at the end of the day, I know they made an arrest on that.
Okay.
Their facts didn't even match up to our facts.
So going on to potential suspects that Mr. Henry gave you, does he mention anyone or point the finger at anybody at that point?
I think he mentioned one name. They may have had some beef up from Vero, from some guy named Bentley or something like that, but nothing that we could verify.
And in terms of the beef with Bentley, did he say if it was ended?
I believe his statement, he said it was taken care of, it was squashed.
With regards to an incident at Walmart, were you informed about a potential suspect there?
Yes, there was an incident a few months back at Walmart. I think during his statements, he said first the fight took place inside and it was outside. But I guess a necklace was stolen. It was posted online. It didn't seem that anything really came of that either.
Okay, so Detective Moretti, based on your training and experience, have you had the opportunity to respond to various Walmarts across South Florida?
Yes.
Have you done criminal investigations regarding incidents or crimes that have occurred at those Walmarts?
Yes.
Based on that, do you know how long Walmart keeps video for?
Traditionally 30 days.
And in terms of the time period that was being described to you, was that within 30 days?
It was way beyond 30 days.
So going back to that morning, did you go with Mr. Henry in the car with Detective Toyota to find out where this incident happened?
No, Mr. Henry rode with Detective Toyota, and it was just them two in the car.
And in terms of the evidence or anything that was reported back to you as the lead detective in this case that was recovered from the street surface of Miramar Parkway between I-75 and 184th?
There was no evidence recovered at all.
So, knowing that you had this location, are there businesses along Miramar Parkway that have surveillance footage?
Yes.
Were you able to go to some of those and retrieve some of that surveillance footage?
Yes.
So I'm going to start with what's been marked as the state's quadruple L, which is a composite of two photos. Counsel, you have a copy? Detective Marty, I'm showing you a composite of two images which have been labeled as state triple L. Do you recognize those two photos?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you recognize those two photos?
These are snapshots of the video from the McDonald's, the corner of 172 and Miramar Parkway.
And how do you recognize those?
Well, I'm the one that retrieved the video myself personally. But you can see at 3:46 a.m., you see a red vehicle going by, a red SUV. And then at 3:46:57, you see a silver SUV going by, which was consistent with the two vehicles.
Well, before we get into that, those photos fairly and accurately depict the video that you took from the McDonald's on October 26th of 2018. Are those two screenshots from the video that cover the time frame of this incident?
Yes, ma'am.
Have they been altered or changed in any way?
No, ma'am.
All right, this time the state would request a states triple L and has states 84.
Objection? No. They're admitted.
States quadruple L will be marked states 84.
And permission to publish, Your Honor?
You may.
Starting at states 84, page 1, which is 10/26/2018, 34650.040. Detective Meridian, the screen in front of you is a touch screen. So I'm going to zoom in on the picture a little bit. And can you show the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what area of the screen you were talking about?
Right.
If you move, it should show the cursor a little bit better.
Okay.
And so what color did that vehicle appear to be?
Red.
And keeping it in the same location. Moving on to page 2, 34657.840. Is that same circle around the vehicle that was in question in this photograph?
Yes, ma'am.
And would that appear to be a darker colored vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
At what point did you learn about New Era Studios?
When we spoke with Mr. Henry, he informed us that they just came from the recording studios in Fort Lauderdale. And so two of our detectives then responded there, Detective Bertrand and Detective Toyota, to retrieve the video, or just to go there to see what evidence they could recover.
Okay. Once the video was recovered, did you review it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Approximately how far is it from the New Era 805 Northeast 4th Avenue in Fort Lauderdale to the Sunset Lakes 40th Street Guardhouse?
30 miles.
And have you had the opportunity to drive that distance or look that route before?
Yes, ma'am.
With regards to the studio video, what's been admitted as state 7. Did you review this before or after the search warrant was conducted on the Jeep?
This was before.
Okay. So going to channel 4, 2:17:42 starting time. Fast forwarding here till 2/18/40. Were any man purses, satchels found in that gray Jeep?
No, ma'am.
Specifically, the beige one that's pictured at 2/18/40.
No, ma'am, we did not recover that.
Continuing forward to 2/19/05. Was a black satchel recovered?
No, ma'am.
Specifically the one that is seen in the individual in the black and white jacket?
Correct, ma'am.
Did Mr. Henry have possession of either of those satchels or man purses at the hospital?
No, ma'am.
So after you learn about the studio video, do you have an occasion to respond to a location that's identified as 18521 Southwest 44th Street?
Yes, we went to that before the video was recovered. That was the location where the defendant was residing at the time.
And who else did you know lived there at that time?
I believe the defendant, co-defendant, Mr. Henry, Mr. Mills, Mr. Davis, Mr. Glass. I believe they were all living there, as well as the victims.
And in terms of the location of that address, do you know the name of the subdivision it's in?
I believe it's Sunset Lakes,
And where is Sunset Lakes? What city?
City of Miramar.
When you went to that 18521 Southwest 44th address, did you go inside?
No, ma'am.
Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what it was like when you first got to that location?
At that point, we had already cleared from the hospital. It was probably, the sun was already coming up, so, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe even a little bit later. We went, there was no cars in the driveway. We went to the front door, knocked, looked in the windows, we didn't see anyone.
While you were on scene, did a vehicle pull up?
Yes,
What vehicle was that?
it's the red Mitsubishi.
And who was in that?
Driving it was Dontavius Withers and Adrian Davis.
Did you make contact with them?
Yes,
Without going into what they said, were you able to get a phone number from each of them?
yes,
Did you see the defendant, Jamel Demons, there at that time?
no, ma'am.
Were you invited into the house?
No, ma'am.
In terms of the McDonald's video, when time and the continuity of when you did things, when did you go to McDonald's?
I believe that I went to McDonald's a week, this happened on a Friday or Saturday morning, and I was at McDonald's Monday morning.
Okay. So I'm gonna go now to, on October 26th, did you do any additional evidence collection or interviewing of any individuals?
On the 26th,
Yes.
no, I just wrote the search warrant for the Jeep.
While you were at the hospital, you mentioned that you didn't see civilians when you first got there.
Correct,
Were there any civilians that you made contact with before you left?
yes.
And who would those be?
There was some of the victim's family there, some of the Phillips family.
No, neither victim has the last name Phillips. You'll have to identify who those.
The Phillips family was with Chris Thomas's family.
Okay.
There was also I didn't make contact with him, Detective Bertrand did, Trayvon Glass, an Andrew, I forget his last name. He was there. I made contact with the defendant's mother, Jamie King.
Okay. And after you left the hospital and made contact with those individuals, did you do anything else other than writing the warrants and executing a warrant on the gray Jeep?
No.
Explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you have to do to write a search warrant.
The search warrant is based upon probable cause. There's an affidavit, like an application, and then there's the actual warrant. We write the warrant, the application, the affidavit, and then we send it to a state attorney. We plan when the state attorney is on duty. Hopefully we get the way from early in the morning because we're up. So we send the warrant to them, they review it, and then if they approve it, Then it goes to the judge. The judge will then sign it. At this point, we're doing electronic warrant, so we could submit it electronically.
And in terms of the search of the Jeep, can you start searching it while you're waiting for the judge? Why not?
Because we don't have authorization to go into the Jeep. And we secure it, we take it, we hold it, but until that warrant is signed, we cannot touch that vehicle.
So after the warrant is signed, it's executed, are you present for the execution of that search warrant?
Yes.
Why?
I actually have to read the warrant to the vehicle. I know that sounds very strange. It's one of those procedures that's been done for years. I can never explain it, but if it's a house, we have to read it to the house. If it's a vehicle, we read it to the vehicle.
Is that why we see you holding papers with all these warrants?
Yes.
So after you read the warrant aloud and tell the people that are assisting you what you're looking for, what is your role while the warrant is being executed?
I step back. I don't get involved in that process.
Do you collect evidence at that point?
No, ma'am.
Do you indicate which areas may be of interest for evidence collection?
I'll point out that, this is who was sitting where, this is what we have, but, that's their area of expertise.
After that warrant is executed on the gray Jeep, when are you made aware of the casing that's found in the backseat?
That night, when they collected it.
And going forward to October 27th of 2018, did you leave Broward County and travel to meet with other witnesses?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you go?
We went up to, Vero Beach, into Gifford to make contact with some of the victims' family.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to, without going into what was said, see Adrian Davis again?
I saw Agent Davis again. We saw Dontavius Withers again. I believe we saw Chris Thomas Sr. And I think if I'm not mistaken, the girlfriend of Chris Thomas as well.
Was there an occasion in which the application Snapchat was brought up?
Yes.
As a result of learning about a Snapchat, did you author a warrant for Snapchat?
Yes, ma'am.
So when you authored the warrant for Snapchat, which has already been admitted into evidence in various states, what were you looking for?
I was looking for communications between Janelle Demons and Dontavius Withers.
And what were those communications supposedly going to show?
The communication was supposed to show that Janelle Demons sent a message.
Can we approach?
All right, I don't know what I missed just now. I was getting dressed. However, I did hear some of it. People been irking my nerves today. But what I was saying, so this is the play. I don't know how long they're gonna be on recess. This is what I peeped. So in Fredo Bane's song, he said basically he be watching his homeboy trial on the phone or whatever, right? Then remember the defense brought out that Glass been watching it on his on YouTube, right? So then look at this. Hopefully I can pull it up real quick because I had walked away before they. All right, here we go. Watch this. Bortland is watching it too, and he posted that on social media. So, if all the people that supposed to be witnesses or maybe could be witnesses are watching the trial, how can they be witnesses? This is my opinion of the play. And if Glass just by chance had to come because of his case, right? But he put it on record, right? That's he's been watching it. So that's definitely going to be grounds for something. What is going to be grounds for? I don't know. It may not happen until if he get found guilty and then it's an appeal. However, I think that's the play. It's not a coincidence that 3 people are making it known that they're watching the trial. You can't, and they already stated what the law for Florida is. You can't watch it if you're a witness to it. What is they talking about? Oh my gosh! But anyway, so that's my opinion. I feel like it's just it's too much of a coincidence that everybody is doing that. The rules have to change with the addition of having cameras in the courtroom. I doubt they're gonna change it, to be honest, because it's by law. Like to allow the media in there, and just like with juries, you are required not to watch it though. You know what I'm saying? Because even if they don't live stream it, it's part of law with Freedom of Information Act and the media clauses, a different statute in different states. But anyway, that they are able to report on it to the public. So even if they're not able to watch it live, they still shouldn't be watching coverage on it. And that's one of the questions they ask you in jury duty. Why does that keep bothering me? All right, so yeah, my bad, y'all. But yeah, it's interesting enough that this is going on, and I've been saying it for a minute. Like, yo, I don't see this person in the court, right? I don't see this person in the court.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to clarify one thing. Prior to trial, I mispronounced the defendant's name. It's pronounced Demons, D-E-M-O-N-S. Lemons with a D is the way it was explained to me. And I know it's been pronounced different ways here, but it's pronounced Demons. All right? Detective, all right? Demons?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Proceed.
Okay, so going into what's been previously offered into evidence as State 61. The account information, if you could publish what this says and kind of make it as big as possible, as to who owned this particular Snapchat account.
Okay.
You could read?
Yes, it says the display name is Melly Montana. The email address associated with this is mellymontana@icloud.com. The phone number is 772-713-9807. And I guess I think they call it the vanity name YNW Melly.
Okay. And is that display name as it's indicated here?
Yes.
In terms of the IP history, did you do any additional investigation or research into the IPs that were provided?
No.
Going into the...
I'm sorry.
Is there objection?
There's no objection, but you need the rest of them.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. We'll take a short recess. Do not discuss the case. Don't form any opinion about the case. Don't allow anyone to discuss the case in presence. Certainly no research. Just leave your notepad on your chairs. Thank you. Thank you. Let the record reflect the jury stepped out. Counsel Mann will with the defendant. You need to write break. Can you arrange that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Devins?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I apologize for interrupting.
No problem.
Make sure you had to clear this out.
We apologize for pronouncing his name wrong.
All right, they're going into a recess. So, y'all, this is
everywhere you look has to be predetermined to prove your case and your theme. So the theme here is What?
I think the theme is here that Melly killed two of his best friends growing up, you know, and I think that the forensic evidence was pretty powerful, you know, in terms of them putting the forensics on. It made it hard for me to believe that he wasn't somehow involved. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I mean, we know that he was sitting in the seat that we saw him get into on the video.
I don't know who that guy is. Who is that guy? Who is that? We don't know nothing, okay? But they are definitely putting a heavy a lot of this and that out there for us to come to that conclusion. But I'm not gonna play that because we really don't know, right? Even the other experts been saying that, so I'm gonna let him have that part. Y'all. So this is what we're gonna do since we are on a recess, and I will be on live tonight. I do have to finish getting ready for work, so I'm gonna go ahead and end my live now at this part. Y'all make sure y'all finish watching the trial so we can have a discussion. Y'all be ready to pull up or have your questions ready for the chat tonight, because I will be ready to debate. Okay, I'm gonna definitely be the one that's gonna go against what y'all saying. Okay. Thank you. You sent it to me now. Hold on, let me check that out because I was actually interested in knowing that real quick before I get up off of here. Let's see. Oh, let me see. Okay, if I'm cute. Hold on, y'all. I'm skimming through something real quick. Typically, witnesses are kept isolated and not permitted to watch the proceedings before they testify to preserve fairness during the trial. But in Alex Mado's trial, his eldest son Buster, who is a witness for the defense, has been seen seated behind the father. All right. Agents on the state witness also said, why are they allowed in the courtroom before they testify? The reason is quite simple. The rule of sequestration is not in effect. The federal rules of evidence require the upon request a party typically requests to ensure that the witnesses do not continue to follow prior state purposes and discretion of the trial judge if either party requests or if neither no witnesses. Okay, so based on what I read real quickly through what shout out to Gates sent to me, is that the difference between this trial so far and the Alex Mado case in South Carolina is that so far the defense has put it on record their y'all know I cannot say that word, the sequestration of the witness. They have already put that on file. In the Alex Mado case, they did not put that motion on the table. So that's the difference. So shout out to Gates for giving me that info. Marge said they can't use no Snapchat evidence. I thought, dang, where Prince at? I think Prince at work. If I can recall correctly, they're not able to use certain parts of it. But not, I don't think they threw out all Snapchat, if I remember correctly. Yeah. But y'all, I'm gonna get ready, finish getting ready for work. I'll be tapping in probably about like 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight to go back over what we missed, recap the full testimony from oh buddy, what's his name? Glass. And y'all, I appreciate y'all rocking out with your girl. Y'all know lately my schedule had definitely been busy. Okay, sometimes I be forgetting when to sleep, but I definitely slept well this morning, although I didn't go to sleep till like 5 because I was recording podcast episodes. Okay. Y'all make sure y'all tap in with MickeyTruth.com. Support your girl, get some merch. Y'all already know donations are definitely welcome. Mickey Truth 2022 is my cash app. Also, y'all run the chats up on the videos, and just continue to share, man. Tell a friend to pull up on Mickey Truth Live. Y'all know, hey, at the end of the day, we're gonna rock out. So I definitely appreciate it. I definitely peeped the play though in this case. It's interesting. Y'all know I'll be up on it. But we'll see how it goes. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Y'all have a good day. See y'all tonight. Holla.
I'm rocking with Mickey Truth. She live up to her name, not the fame. So make sure y'all subscribe to her channel and stay updated on what's real. Bye.
Coming from where I come from, they doubted me, but I came up. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. Coming from where I come from, they doubted me, but I came up. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world.
Good reporting ass Mickey.
We love you, Mickey.